Don't scroll. Don't delay. Heaven is standing still right now, waiting on you. Tonight is not just another evening on your calendar, it is divine appointment. Heaven is holding its breath, waiting on the whisper of your will. Every angel has turned their eyes toward your heart because what you choose tonight will alter the course of your life. I am not exaggerating when I say this moment was written before time began. Before you ever felt the pain, before you cried yourself to sleep, before the world made you question your worth, I knew this night would come. You've stood at many crossroads before, but this one is different. This one is holy. This one carries the weight of transformation. I know you're tired. I know you've been trying to hold everything together while your spirit quietly breaks. But hear me, this is the night where surrender becomes the weapon that wins battles for you. This is the hour where your yes to me will trigger a chain of divine responses that no demon can intercept. Don't let your mind overthink what your soul already knows. I am calling you. Not tomorrow. Not next week. No. The heavens are watching. The kingdom is listening. I am waiting. I know the storms you've survived. I know the promises you've doubted. But this isn't about your strength. This is about your decision. Will you follow me when nothing makes sense? Will you trust me even when fear still knocks at your door? You have cried for change, begged for peace, and longed for purpose. This night is your doorway. Everything I promised is on the other side of obedience. One act of faith tonight can cancel every curse, restore every broken thing, and awaken what life tried to numb inside you. You are none too far. You are not too late. The fact that you are here right now is proof that you're on the brink of something sacred. I have held back the forces of darkness just for you to have this moment of clarity. Heaven is still. Time is bending. This decision you make in the quiet of your soul will echo in eternity. So I ask you, will you follow my voice or stay in the noise? Will you let go of the past or hold on to pain that can't carry you forward? Heaven is not passive tonight. It is poised. And all of it, every bit of it, is focused on you. Don't miss this holy hour. Don't miss me. You are never alone, and you are not forgotten. I've come for you. Now decide. You are standing at the edge of something eternal, and I have already made the path straight, but I will not force you to step onto it. My preparation is complete. What you see as confusion, I've already turned into clarity. What looked like a dead end was actually the setup for my glory to be revealed through you. I moved pieces behind the scenes when you thought I was distant. I closed doors that would have led you to destruction and opened invisible gates that only obedience can access. But child, the time to wait has passed. You must not hesitate, not now. The door I have prepared for you will not remain open forever. My spirit will not strive forever with indecision. The breakthrough you are praying for won't be held back once your feet move in faith. I will ahead of you. I've silenced voices that wanted you trapped in cycles. I've routed every demonic plan assigned to confuse you. Now it is your turn to trust me enough to move. I know stepping forward feels risky. I know what happened last time you tried, but this is not that. This is not failure repeating itself. This is destiny calling louder than ever. You're not walking into the unknown. You're stepping into what I have prepared specifically for you. Everything has been aligned for this hour, my timing, your readiness, and the shifting of seasons. But this moment has a window. You cannot assume you'll feel this tug tomorrow. You must respond while the Spirit stirs within you. Don't delay. Delay is a thief dressed as caution. Delay drains your strength and invites confusion. Obedience opens the atmosphere for miracles. You have prayed for confirmation. This is it. This is your moment to let go of second guessing and grab hold of the divine assignment written for your name alone. I'm not asking for perfection, I'm asking for participation. Take the first step, and you'll see I've already handled what you feared. What looks unstable will become solid ground under your feet because my presence sustains what I call you into. Don't think about what's behind you anymore. It cannot offer what I'm about to give. The past cannot carry the weight of this calling. I have made a way not for who you used to be, but for who I know you are becoming. The enemy wants you frozen in hesitation so you never experience the fullness I've designed for you. But you must choose tonight. There are people waiting on the other side of your obedience. There are legacies hanging in the balance. This is bigger than emotion, it's about eternal impact. Don't let the noise around you drown out what I'm speaking within you. I've removed distractions so you can hear me clearly. Walk through the opening while it's still fresh. Trust what you cannot yet see. My plans are not guesses, they are guarantee when you follow. You are not stepping alone. I go before you, beside you, and behind you. Every breath of yours tonight is marked with urgency because heaven has already moved. Now it's your turn. If you stay still, you will delay what was meant to begin tonight. But if you move, all of heaven will back you. This door is yours, but only for time. Don't waste this sacred opening. Your future is calling, and I am leading. There is a quiet ache that no one sees. It echoes in your thoughts, fills the spaces between your words, and follows you when the world believes you're fine. That silence inside, unspoken fears, unheard prayers, unresolved memories has not gone unnoticed by me. I have not only observed it, have entered into it. You have waited long for someone to understand without needing you to explain. And here I am. I feel what you haven't voiced. I carry the weight you never dared share. That stillness within you is not empty, it is waiting for divine dialogue. And tonight, I am here to fill that hollow space with truth that no noise can overpower. You've mistaken my quietness for absence, but I was drawing you to this depth on purpose. You couldn't hear me over the constant chatter of others, so I removed the distractions not to isolate you, but to prepare you. There is sacredness in the hush that surrounds you now, because within it, I am speaking clearer than ever. Not through thunder, not through lightning, but through the whisper that reaches into the deep. I know what you're holding back. The world applauds strength, but I see the cracks behind the smile. And I do not condemn you, I invite you closer. My voice does not shout to compete. It gently awakens what you buried beneath survival. When you sit in the stillness, thinking no one cares, I am kneeling beside you. I am speaking comfort into the aching spaces you thought would never be touched again. I'm not here to rush you, I'm here to restore you. And that restoration begins when you stop pretending and let me enter the silence with you. I have things to tell you that your ears haven't heard before. Words crafted not just for your situation, but for your soul. Not motivational talk, not shallow reassurance, pure personal truth meant for you alone. I will not waste this moment trying to impress you. I came to transform you. But for that to happen, you must allow the silence to speak. Stop running from the quiet and start listening within it. I am not far, I am folded into the very breath between your thoughts. Every question you've carried but never asked, I have already answered in my heart. And now I want to share those answers with you. This requires no performance, no effort to impress, just a willingness to let me meet you where the words end. Tonight, the silence becomes sacred because I have stepped into it. What once tormented you with emptiness will now be filled with revelation. You're not being punished, you're being pursued. And I didn't come to scold, I came to heal. That hollow space in your chest is not a flaw. It's an opening for something holy. Let me speak into it. Let me fill the void not with noise but with meaning. Let me exchange your numbness for clarity, your questions for wisdom, your loneliness for companionship that never leaves. This is not imagination. This is invitation. The silence wasn't evidence of my absence, it was the stage being cleared for my entrance. And now I speak gently, yet powerfully. I'm here. I know. I understand. I love. And I am not leading. Let every silent cry be met with my living presence. Let every unheard whisper rise like incense, answered by the one who sees beyond sound. This night, let the silence become a sanctuary, because I am already in it, speaking directly to you. You may think you arrived here by accident, but I assure you this moment was designed long before you were even aware of it. I have been watching the movements of your heart, the waves of your days, and the silent battles you faced when no one else noticed. And I have waited not because I was distant, but because timing matters in eternity. There are layers to your heart that I could not touch until now, because too many voices were speaking over mine. Too many opinions, too much noise, too many expectations clouded what I've longed to whisper into your spirit. But right now, everything else has gone quiet. The spotlight of heaven is on you, and nothing is interrupting us. That's not coincidence, it's orchestration. I cleared away what was cluttering your soul, not to isolate you, but to prepare you for intimacy with me. Your attention has finally arrived where I've been patiently calling it all along. This is why I delayed certain answers. This is why some doors didn't open when you pleaded. I wasn't ignoring you, I was waiting for your focus to meet my voice. Not distracted, not divided, fully present. This moment, right here, holds more weight than you know. It's not about achieving something impressive. It's about allowing me to access what you've guarded for years. You've shown strength in front of others, but tonight I want the version of you that cries in silence. I'm not asking you to be strong, I'm asking you to be real. Let me in, not just to the polished parts you show the world, but the raw places you've kept hidden, even from yourself. I see beyond the surface, into the depths that ache to be known and healed. And I didn't wait here to condemn you, I waited to love you in the place no one else could reach. I don't need your perfection, I want your permission. Just let me come close. You don't need to understand how everything will unfold. You only need to recognize that I am here now, fully focused on you. I've silenced the spiritual static that used to confuse you. I've paused the rhythm of your routine long enough for you to realize something holy is happening. You feel it. It's stirring inside you, that's me. That unexplainable peace rising in the middle of uncertainty, that's my presence settling in. Everything that distracted you from my presence has lost its grip in this moment. Your soul is finally free enough to listen. The tug you feel right now isn't guilt, it's grace. I've come not with demands, but with desire. Desire to reconnect. Desire to redeem. Desire to restore what the chaos of life has eroded. And I'm not in a hurry. I'm here to dwell. Tonight is not about rushing into answers. It's about realizing you are seen, known, and loved in the middle of your process. Don't rush past this divine pause. This is not empty space, it's a sacred encounter. I am closer than you imagined. Closer than breath. Closer than thought. I am speaking with precision into your situation. My eyes are locked on you, and nothing else has my attention right now. You're not sharing me with a crowd, you have my undivided love. That is why tonight matters. You're not lost in the crowd. You're not invisible to me. I have waited for the moment when all that fought for your focus would be silenced, just long enough for you to hear me clearly. And here you are. And here I am. No more distractions. Just you and me, exactly as it was always meant to be. I know the waiting has felt unbearable. I've seen the frustration rise inside you each time your prayers seemed unanswered, each time life stood still while others seemed to move forward. It's not that I didn't hear you, I heard every word. It's not that I forgot you, I had you in my hand the entire time. You misread the pauses as rejection, when they were really a shield. I wasn't withholding what you asked for, I was protecting you from what you couldn't yet see. The slow seasons, the unanswered hopes, the unexpected obstacles, they weren't signs of abandonment. They were divine preparations crafted out of mercy. What you perceived as me being distant was actually me drawing the blueprint of something far more complete than your current understanding could grasp. And now, in this hour, I am revealing why it took this long. There were pieces of your heart I had to mend first. There were wounds that needed closure, lies that needed to be uprooted, and strength that had to be built beneath the surface. If I had released everything when you wanted it, the weight of it would have crushed you. But I love you too deeply to bless you prematurely. Every delay was a strategic pause, a breath of heaven over the unfinished corners of your story. I saw what you could, and I saw the full picture. You saw the missing puzzle pieces, but I saw the final masterpiece. And every moment I asked you to wait, I was working on your behalf, working through your tears, working beneath the soil of your faith when nothing seemed to grow. And now the soil is fertile. Now your roots are deep. Now the time is right. The delays no longer stand as barriers, they stand as testimony. Proof that I have been carefully orchestrating this moment for your good. You see it now. The things that felt like endings were actually beginnings cloaked in unfamiliar forms. What felt like silence was the sound of heaven preparing the stage. And now I'm lifting the curtain. You've cried for answers. This night is your unveiling. The time that passed wasn't wasted, it was invested. And you are the return on that investment. Stronger, wiser, more anchored in me. Your soul is no longer restless, it is ready. You've been positioned perfectly, even when it felt like you were wandering. I placed you in the wilderness not to punish you, but to purge you, to cleanse what cluttered your clarity, to distill what matters, to shape you into someone who could hold the promise with humility and grace. That's what this has all been about, preparation for permanence. And now you stand at the edge of fulfillment, not because you earned it, but because you endured. And I honor those who endure. So don't despise the delay. Thank me for it. Without it, you wouldn't be able to receive what's being released tonight. Without it, you wouldn't recognize what is holy from what is temporary. Without it, you wouldn't understand that my timing is not about speed, it's about transformation. And you, child, have been transformed in the waiting. Look at how far you've come, even when you doubted every step. Look at how much you've grown, even while feeling broken. That wasn't stagnation, it was sacred construction. So take a deep breath. What once made you question everything will now confirm my promises. The delays are over. The moment is now. And everything you thought was a setback will become the reason you're ready for the destiny I've been saving for tonight. You may not have realized it, but every whispered prayer, every desperate plea, and every silent tear was gathered. I didn't overlook your cries, they ascended like incense, reaching my throne at the very moment your heart broke. When you thought you were too weary to pray, I heard what your soul couldn't put into words. Nothing you released in faith disappeared into the void. It came directly into my presence, and I did not turn away. I leaned in. I recorded every moment. I responded not with delay, but with precision. While you wrestled with silence, I was already putting your answer into motion. But here's what you must understand. The arrival of my response depends on the openness of your heart to receive it. I don't send gifts to doors that remain closed. I knock. Yes, but you must turn the handle. You must believe that I didn't just hear you, I moved for you. Right now, even as you breathe, the outcome has shifted. The help is already dispatched. The solution is traveling in your direction, but it will not force its way in. You must make room for it with faith. Faith isn't just hoping something happens, it's walking forward as if it's already done. And I'm asking you tonight to do exactly that. You've hesitated long enough. You doubted long enough. You've been paralyzed by what ifs while heaven has been shouting, what now? I have not forgotten what you need. I have not overlooked the details. But your ability to step forward must now catch up with what I've already released on your behalf. My answer isn't waiting to be created, it's waiting to be received. This is why belief matters more than ever. This is why trust cannot be casual tonight. I am not a distant God making distant promises. I'm near, involved, and actively arranging things you've yet to see. But your faith is the gateway. If you don't believe, you'll miss the answer that's already in motion. Not because I withheld it, but because your unbelief blocked your vision. Let me say it clearly. Your rescue is not delayed. It's coming. Your breakthrough isn't a theory, it's real. Your restoration is not a dream, it's unfolding. But it requires your agreement with my truth, not the fear trying to dominate your thoughts. Stop expecting disappointment just because life taught you to guard your hope. I am not like those who let you down. I am not bound by human limitations. I do not lie, I do not tease, and I do not withhold good from my children. The moment you chose to reach for me, I already began reversing the tide. You may not see all of it tonight, but you will feel the shift if you open your heart. I have moved mountains without your awareness. I have cleared pathways your enemies hoped to block. But now I'm asking something of you, believe me, not with shallow agreement, but with surrendered boldness. Speak as though the miracle is on your tongue. Walk as though the answer is under your feet. Trust as if the outcome is already unfolding, because it is. Your situation is not the final word. My voice has spoken over it, and my word never returns void. But your role is to activate what I've already authored. Faith is not a suggestion, it's your invitation to see what I've already sent. This night, things are accelerating. What seemed impossible even yesterday is now responding to your agreement with me. I am releasing it. But you must say yes. Not just with lips, but with your life. Stop shrinking. Stop doubting. Stand tall in expectation, because what you cried out for has not only been heard, it's arriving. And nothing can stop it, except your refusal to believe. So believe now. Dare to trust me. The delivery has already begun. Right now, while everything may appear unchanged on the surface, the unseen realm is stirring. The atmosphere is not quiet, it is heavy with movement. The spiritual ground beneath your feet is trembling with divine activity. This is not imagination, it is revelation. What you cannot perceive with your natural senses is more real than the things you can touch. This very hour is being marked by a transition that cannot be reversed. I am turning the tide, not gradually, but with immediate force. It's the kind of shift that only occurs when my hand has declared, enough. Enough delay. Enough resistance. Enough interference. You have reached the threshold of divine reversal, and this night has been chosen for your favor to be activated. I have seen the setbacks, but now I release supernatural advancement. You've endured closed doors, but now I command new entries to unlock without struggle. What once opposed you will begin to align itself. What once hindered you will now become the evidence that no force can cancel my decision over your destiny. You may not hear it with your ears, but all of heaven is responding to my command. Angels are moving swiftly on your behalf. Strongholds are crumbling where you once felt stuck. Chains that were invisible, yet suffocating, are now falling without effort. You will sense this shift in subtle ways, at first a peace that doesn't make sense, a sudden lifting of emotional weight, an unexpected opportunity, but don't minimize it. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations. I am changing the climate around your spirit. The pressure that has surrounded you is being broken, and in its place, I am releasing momentum. Things that didn't budge for years will start moving. Conversations that never opened doors before will now lead to unexpected favor. Where you felt forgotten, I am causing your name to rise in rooms you've never entered. Where you were overlooked, I am highlighting you under my light. It's not promotion through people, it's placement through my purpose. Do not let what you see deceive you. Sometimes the most powerful shifts are invisible to the naked eye but unmistakable in the spirit. This is why I ask you to remain sensitive. Stay aligned. Don't fall back into routine just because you don't feel a visible change immediately. Walk with expectation, because your alignment determines your access. I'm not asking you to strive, I'm asking you to stay surrendered. As you yield, I accelerate. As you trust, I orchestrate. The shift is not earned, it is received. It's not about effort, it's about agreement. Agree with what I've declared. Stand in agreement with the promise, even when the process looks unfinished. Because everything you need is catching up to your obedience. The opposition you faced was not without purpose, it built the resilience necessary to carry the weight of this favor. What's coming next isn't fragile, it's fortified by your endurance. You didn't just survive to go back to normal. You survived because I was preparing a supernatural turning point that begins tonight. From this night forward, you will notice things aligning faster. You will notice clarity returning. The fog is lifting. The waiting season is closing. I am reintroducing you to yourself, not the wounded version, but the warrior I always knew you were. And this shift is not temporary. It is not seasonal. It is foundational. I am laying new groundwork in the spirit that will carry into every area of your life: relationships, resources, calling, and peace. You will not have to strive to maintain it. I will sustain what I initiate. This night was never random. The change you've been longing for has been activated from my throne, and nothing beneath heaven can prevent its unfolding. What once resisted you is losing authority. What once strained you is losing access. Because I have spoken, and when I speak, all of creation moves. This is that moment. This is that shift. Receive it with reverence. Walk into it with boldness. Everything is now moving in your favor because I have decided it's time. I know how often your eyes have returned to what collapsed. The friendships that unraveled, the opportunities that vanished, the dreams that never materialized. These memories have haunted your peace and made you question your own value. But I am asking you now to release the gaze that keeps you chained to the ashes. You've replayed the failures long enough. You've analyzed the losses in every direction. But I am not finished, and what was broken will not be the conclusion of your story. Stop using your past as a forecast. It has no authority to define what I can construct through your trust. When you hand me the fragments, I don't return sympathy, I begin building. I am the architect of redemption. I take what man calls too far gone and create a testimony from it. But I cannot build where hands are still gripping regret. I need your release. I need your surrender, not because I lack power, but because I honor your will. When you finally let go of needing everything to make sense, you give me full access to do something new. Something greater. Something not even your imagination dared to consider. I'm not recycling your ruins, I'm starting fresh with sacred plans that have your name etched into them. What was taken from you will be surpassed by what I am preparing. But you must look forward now. Look up. Look ahead. Look at me. Not at the wounds. Not at the history. Not at the what-ifs. I know it hurt. I know it felt unfair. I know you believed that door was your only chance. But I hold the keys to doors no man can shut. I am not dependent on what failed. I specialize in resurrection. And what I am about to establish in your life will silence every lie that told you it was over. Your surrender is not weakness, it is the starting point of strength. When you stop trying to fix what is out of reach and place it in my hands, you position yourself for transformation. I never asked you to carry the weight alone. I never demanded perfection. I've only ever wanted your heart undivided and yielded. That's where the real rebuilding begins. Not through striving, through surrender. As long as you're trying to hold it all together in your own strength, you'll feel overwhelmed. But the moment you surrender fully, you will feel divine support rise underneath you. I will undergird your steps. I will stabilize your footing. I will breathe into what once looked lifeless. Because I don't need ideal conditions to begin. I only need your yes. And once I have that, there's nothing I cannot do. I am not interested in restoring your life back to what it was. I'm constructing something brand new. Not a copy of the past, but a future drenched in my presence. A future not marked by cycles of disappointment, but by a flow of favor born from faith. You thought you needed everything fixed first, but I work with the surrendered, not the polished. I'm not waiting for your life to be organized, I'm waiting for your yes to be real. If you can lay down the fear, the bitterness, the hopelessness even for just this moment, I will take it, and from it, begin something eternal. The foundation I'm pouring is stronger than anything you've ever stood on. The walls I raise around you will not be made of fear or insecurity, they will be fortified with peace and identity. I will dwell in what we build together, and every stone will carry evidence that grace did what effort never could. You will not have to explain it to anyone, your life will become the explanation. People will look and say, only God could have done this. That is the future I'm inviting you into. But it begins with surrender, not partial, not cautious, but complete. Give me the broken bricks, the burned beams, the scarred materials of your journey, and watch what I build out of them. Tonight, the blueprint changes. Because now, you're no longer clinging to what crumbled, you're trusting me to construct something glorious from the ground up. Let me begin. They walked away like you were disposable. They dismissed your value as if your worth depended on their opinion. Some left without explanation. Others stayed long enough to cause damage and then blamed you for bleeding. I saw it all. I heard the words that pierced deeper than knives. I watched the betrayal unfold behind your back while you continued loving with a pure heart. You tried to make peace with people who had already decided to misunderstand you. You gave more than you ever received, hoping your loyalty would be enough to make them stay. But when they left, you blamed yourself. You believed their exit was a reflection of your failure. You questioned if something was wrong with you. But child, listen closely, rejection is not the end. In my hands, it's redirection. I do not allow departure without purpose. I do not allow absence unless I'm making room. What felt like an ending was really me removing what could not go where I'm taking you. Some were only meant to walk with you for a season. They weren't evil, they were just not equipped to handle your calling. Others were sent by darkness to drain you before you discovered your identity. And some left because I gently closed the door to protect your destiny. Not everyone who walked with you was meant to stay through the storm. And that's okay. What they thought was abandonment, I called deliverance. When they released you, I caught you. When they silenced you, I started writing your next chapter. You are not defined by who left, you are refined by what I'm about to do next. Don't mourn closed chapters when I'm holding the pen to write a better one. Don't keep rereading the same painful pages when I've already turned the leaf. I know it hurt. I know you would have kept loving them anyway. But what you didn't see was how their presence was slowing your progress. Some carried jealousy that would have poisoned your growth. Others brought confusion masked as counsel. And some simply lacked the vision to recognize your purpose. That's why I allowed them to leave. You don't need those who tolerated your pain but never contributed to your healing. You don't need those who clapped when you were small but vanished when you started to rise. I've been pruning your circle so your roots could grow deeper. I've been narrowing your path so your focus could sharpen. And now that the noise is gone, I can speak without interference. I have never built your future on the backs of those who couldn't value your heart. I am not looking at who left, I'm focused on who you're becoming. And you, child, are rising. Your story isn't over, it's expanding. I'm not using their rejection to hurt you, I'm using it as the soil to birth something glorious. What they discarded, I'm crowning. What they walked away from, I'm breathing life into. Your value didn't decrease when they left. In fact, the separation revealed what they were never meant to carry. And now that they are gone, I have room to place people in your life who see your soul, not just your surface. I am rewriting your narrative, and this chapter begins with restoration. You will no longer question your worth based on who disappeared. You will walk with the assurance that I remain, even when others walk away. You will rise not to prove them wronged, but to fulfill what I've placed inside you. Their absence has no authority to cancel my promises. I never needed their approval to bless you. So stop waiting for closure from those who were never your covering. I am your completion. I am your consistency. And I say this night, your story is not ending. It's unfolding. The page is turned. The pen is still writing. And I am just getting started. You've come too far to retreat now. The weight you feel tonight is not a sign of failure, it's a sign that you're standing at the edge of something sacred. Pressure always increases before birth. Darkness always thickens before dawn. That heaviness pressing down on your soul is not meant to crush you. It's meant to signal you that deliverance is near. The resistance isn't random. The fatigue you're feeling isn't coincidence. It's because you are closer than you think. The enemy doesn't fight what doesn't threaten him. The fact that you're under this intensity proves that your obedience has caused tremors in the spiritual realm. And now, as you stand on this divine threshold, I need you to hear me. Don't stop. Don't slow down. Don't surrender your promise because of momentary pain. I know you're tired. I see how often you fought silently while the world demanded your strength. I know how many nights you wept and wondered if continuing was even worth it. You looked for signs. You asked for confirmation. And now, here I am reminding you that your breakthrough is closer than the discouragement wants you to believe. Giving up might seem easier right now, but it would cost you what I've been preparing in secret. The harvest is ready, but you must not turn around while it's just steps away. The intensity is real, but so is my help. I have not brought you this far to watch you collapse in defeat. I am here to undergird your spirit, to revive what's faint, to rekindle what has flickered. You don't need to fight alone. I never called you to survive through willpower. I called you to endure through my strength. You were never meant to be self-sufficient. I'm not disappointed in your weariness. I'm waiting to refresh you. But you must stop trying to carry this all in your own might. The pressure will not win if you let me lift you. Your breakthrough is not delayed, it is positioned just past this wall of resistance. The enemy wants you to believe this discomfort is permanent, but it's not. It's transitional. It's the tightening before the release. The final push before the door swings open. If you walk away now, you'll never know how close you truly were. Don't let exhaustion convince you to bury what is about to rise. You don't need all the answers. You just need to keep moving one step at a time. Crawl if you must, but don't reverse. This season was never about speed, it was about survival. And you survived more than you realize. You've conquered nights that tried to silence your hope. You've endured attacks meant to derail your destiny. And yet here you are, still breathing, still believing, even if your faith feels like a whisper. That whisper still reaches me. The whisper still holds power. I don't need loud declarations, I need honest hearts. And yours, even in weakness, is precious to me. Your struggle does not disqualify you. It invites me closer. I am not repelled by your weariness, I am moved by it. I am sending you strength to my strength that won't just help you stand, but carry you forward into everything I've spoken over your life. This is not your ending. This is your turning point. What feels like a breaking is really a birthing. And what's coming forth is greater than what you've lost. You're about to see why I told you not to quit. You're about to understand why the fight was so intense. Because what I'm about to release through your perseverance will silence every doubt, every lie, every voice that said you wouldn't make it. Don't let go now. The threshold is beneath your feet. The glory is in reach. And I am right here fighting with you, for you, beside you. Just hold on a little longer. Just breathe and believe. The breakthrough is not in the distance. It's in motion. Don't step back, you're too close to step away. The darkness you felt earlier wasn't your imagination, it was opposition trying to steal your attention before you could hear me clearly. Every chaotic thought, every sudden wave of anxiety, every unexpected tension that rose in your surroundings tonight wasn't random, it was strategic. Hell recognized what this moment held before you even sensed it. The enemy didn't just want to trouble your emotions, he wanted to block your alignment. He hoped to cloud your vision just enough to make you scroll past this truth, to make you yawn when you should be listening, to fill your space with clutter so you couldn't recognize the clarity I'm releasing. But I stepped in. I scattered the fog. I silenced the noise. I broke through the interference, because what I'm doing in your heart tonight cannot be delayed. The lies that tried to slip in. You're not ready. This doesn't apply to you. Nothing's really changing. Those didn't come from me. I'm the one who pulls you closer, not the one who pushes you away. Tonight was supposed to be stolen. It was targeted for distraction. But I intervened because I've waited too long to let this moment slip by. You have no idea how much the kingdom of darkness feared you receiving this word. Because a focused child of mine is a threat to every stronghold. If you ever fully realize the power of a surrendered mind, If you ever truly saw how dangerous your faith becomes when unshaken, the enemy wouldn't be able to breathe near your purpose. That's why he tried to tangle your thoughts. That's why he stirred up distractions in people, in notifications, in emotions. But I, the Lord of hosts, stepped between the chaos and your calling. I shielded your spirit with my peace so you could hear me now. I broke cycles tonight not with noise, but with presence. I exposed tactics that once worked on you but no longer will. The enemy's grip is loosening not because he gave up, but because I declared it finished. You belong to me, and there is not a single whisper of darkness that can override the authority of my word. What tried to draw you away tonight has now become the very proof that you're on the brink of something heaven ordained. You didn't lose focus, you resisted long enough to stay. And because you stayed, I'm releasing something stronger than a feeling. I'm giving you revelation. Distraction is never just about breaking your attention, it's about disconnecting you from destiny. But you didn't fall for it this time. And even when you felt pulled, my hand held you steady. I orchestrated this meeting. I cleared space in your heart for it. I calmed things you didn't know were raging beneath the surface. And I did it all because I care more about your future than your comfort. You are not here by accident. I canceled what was meant to pull you elsewhere. I silenced voices that would have filled your mind with doubt. I covered you from attacks you didn't even see coming. Because I love you. Because I fight for you even when you don't realize a war is happening. You may not have recognized the battle, but you will recognize the victory. You'll feel it in your rest tonight. You'll see it in your thoughts tomorrow. What once distracted you will no longer have power over you. What used to break your focus will now bounce off the shield of peace I'm placing over you. I've interrupted the enemy's blueprint, and I'm replacing it with vision. Real vision. The kind that sees through the noise. The kind that stays grounded when everything else shakes. You are not who you used to be, and tonight proves it. You stayed present. You stayed connected. And I stayed faithful. From this moment forward, you'll notice that the things that used to pull you away from me will begin to lose their grip. Not because you got stronger on your own, but because I intervened and shifted the atmosphere around you. You've been chosen to carry something holy, and I will not let the enemy distract you from it. He tried tonight and he failed. You heard me anyway. And now, the real breakthrough begins. There is something I want you to hear, but it will not come through thunder. It's not wrapped in dramatic signs or loud displays. What I'm saying now is too holy to shout. It's the kind of truth that slips past the ears and finds its home directly in your spirit. It's a whisper, a sacred breath carried into the most hidden parts of who you are. And this moment is the stillness I've waited for. You've been surrounded by countless voices, all pulling you in different directions. Expectations, assumptions, fears, pressures, all of them demanding your attention. But this voice, my voice, is different. It doesn't force itself. It doesn't fight for volume. It arrives in peace, and yet it carries the weight of eternity. That's why I've hushed everything else tonight. I lowered the volume of the world so you can finally hear the gentle truth I've held in my heart for you. You spent too much time believing you needed to earn my approval. You've walked on eggshells, afraid that one wrong move would distance you from me forever. But I am not fragile. My love for you isn't conditional, and my presence doesn't disappear when you feel unworthy. That's what I've come to whisper now. I'm still here. I've always been here. Not just when you got it right. Not just when your faith was strong. Even in your worst moments, I never stopped calling your name. And I'm calling it again now, not to correct, but to comfort. You've been harder on yourself than I ever was. You've carried guilt that I never asked you to hold. But my whisper comes to break shame's grip. My whisper comes to heal what shouting never could. This whisper isn't vague. It's personal. I know what you're battling, and I'm not scared of it. I know the thoughts that keep you up at night. I know the fears you can't explain. I know the questions that you're too afraid to ask out loud. And I want you to know this. I have answers, and they begin with my presence. You've been seeking direction when what you really needed was connection. You don't have to figure everything out tonight. You just need to know you're not alone in this. I'm closer than ever. You won't find me in noise and rush, you will find me here, in the stillness, whispering something meant only for you. What I'm planting in your soul tonight will grow quietly but powerfully. It may not bloom tomorrow. It may not be visible right away, but you will feel the change within. The way peace settles into your chest. The way hope finds you again, gently and without pressure. The way your heart begins to exhale the fear it's held for far too long. That's the evidence of my whisper taking root. I'm not here to push you, I'm here to anchor you. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm inviting presence. Your presence. Right here. Right now. You don't need to perform. You don't need to impress me. You just need to be still and let the whisper speak louder than the wounds. And if you've never heard me before, don't worry. This is not about your ability to hear, it's about my desire to be known. I speak in ways your soul recognizes, even if your mind can't explain them. Sometimes it feels like a sudden calm. Sometimes it feels like an inner knowing. Sometimes it comes through tears that surprise you. However it reaches you, know this: it's me. And I'm not going anywhere. Even after tonight, my whisper will follow you. It will echo in your quiet moments. It will guide you in decisions. It will comfort you in chaos. And when the noise of life rises again, remember this night. Remember that the whisper still speaks. Remember how it felt to be wrapped in peace that didn't make sense. That was me. And I will whisper again, every time you're willing to listen. All those nights you lay awake wondering why life felt so heavy, those weren't meaningless hours. The internal storms you weathered, the seasons of delay, the confusion that made you feel lost, they were not random moments of hardship. They were carefully allowed so that your steps would lead you here, to this holy moment of alignment. I know you felt torn apart. I know you questioned your strength and even your purpose. But while you were barely holding on, I was holding everything together. You didn't see the alignment coming, but I've been preparing it behind the curtain of your pain. I wasn't absent during the conflict. I was constructing something eternal through it. You were not being punished, you were being positioned. Every hardship that threatened to break you was refining something eternal inside you. I didn't allow it to destroy you, I allowed it to redirect you. Your tears were not wasted. Your prayers didn't bounce off the ceiling. I used every single struggle to pull your spirit back into rhythm with mine. This night is not just another page, it's a realignment. The missteps, the detours, the regrets, they are not in control anymore. Tonight, I am realigning your purpose with my plan. The path you're stepping onto now will feel different, not because the terrain has changed, but because your spirit is finally moving in sync with heaven. No more being torn between the past and what's ahead. No more divided attention between what hurt you and what heals you. I am closing the distance between your pain and your purpose. This is what the battles prepared you for: sensitivity to my voice, clarity in your calling, and strength you never knew you carried. What you thought was survival was actually training. You were being made resilient in secret. Others may never understand what it took to get here, and they don't need to. Because this isn't about proving anything to anyone. This is about walking in alignment with me, unhindered by old fears, unaffected by past opinions, unshaken by what once intimidated you. The chains that held you were loud, but the alignment I'm bringing tonight is stronger. It doesn't just release you, it repositions you. You're no longer in the same place spiritually. Something shifted when you showed up. Something eternal realigned the moment you surrendered again. You may not have realized it, but you've been walking toward this convergence all along. The timing of this encounter is not accidental, it is divine. Everything that felt late is arriving exactly on schedule. You couldn't have received this realignment any earlier, because parts of you weren't ready to let go. But now your heart is open. Now your spirit is still. Now you can finally hear what I've been saying all along. You are not behind, you're exactly where you need to be. The past didn't ruin your purpose. It led you straight to it. And in this sacred realignment, I'm activating what was dormant. Gifts you forgot. Dreams you abandoned. Passions that were buried under disappointment. I'm breathing on them again. You don't need to force this moment. You only need to agree with it. Lay aside every reason you've used to disqualify yourself. Let go of the old definitions others placed on you. Tonight, your identity is no longer tied to what you went through. It's anchored in what I'm calling you into. And it's more than you expected. It's heavier in glory, deeper in peace, stronger in joy. You're not returning to what was, you're walking into what's always been reserved for you. This isn't about becoming someone new, it's about becoming who you truly are. In me. Fully aligned. Fully known. Fully loved. And from this moment forward, you won't have to strive to find your way, I'll lead. You'll recognize the right doors, the right people, the right timing, not because you're guessing, but because you're finally aligned with the one who holds it all. Some things were never meant to last, and you've held onto them longer than you should because your heart hoped they would heal if you just loved enough, tried harder, or waited longer. I saw how those open doors slowly began stealing your energy, your focus, your identity. What you thought was opportunity became oppression. What once gave you purpose became a source of pressure. And though you didn't want to admit it, those doors began weakening you in ways that no one else could see. But I saw. I watched how you poured your heart into places that kept taking but never poured back. I counted the nights you prayed for me to bless something I never called you to carry. And now, because I love you too deeply to let you stay in what was slowly breaking you, I'm closing what you never had the strength to shut. Don't see it as rejection. Don't view it as punishment. View it as rescue. I know what's waiting behind those walls you wanted so badly to stay inside. I know the battles that would have continued if you kept pushing to remain there. That's why I'm intervening. What's being sealed isn't being stolen, it's being sanctified. Some of the things you were involved in only made sense to your past self. But the version of you that is emerging now cannot stay bound to what once fit. You've outgrown cycles that once felt comfortable. And the discomfort you feel is the signal that it's time to release what no longer aligns with who you are becoming in me. And while I close one door, I'm not leaving you in the hallway. I am unlocking something that doesn't need effort, it requires trust. You don't need to knock on 1,000 doors hoping one opens. The right one is already being prepared. The one designed for your obedience, not your desperation. You won't have to manipulate your way through it. You won't have to compromise to get through. This door won't open with credentials, influence, or force. It opens when faith walks toward it. The kind of faith that says, I don't see everything, but I believe what you've spoken. The kind of faith that steps even when the path looks unfamiliar. The kind of faith that lets go of the old without a detailed map of what's next. This door is spiritual before it's visible. It leads to places you couldn't have imagined on your own. You're not walking through it to impress people, you're walking through it to fulfill heaven's assignment. I know it's scary to leave behind what was familiar, even when it hurt you. I know the temptation to turn back when the unknown feels overwhelming. But I will be with you every step. The moment your foot lifts in trust, I release grace to meet it. The moment you stop trying to reopen what I've shut, I breathe life into what I've chosen to begin. The tension you feel between letting go and moving forward will turn into freedom when you fully surrender the outcome. Don't mourn what's gone longer than necessary. Don't let your memories hold your future hostage. Yes, some doors closed suddenly. Some were shut gently. Others slammed. But in every single case, I was protecting something greater than you could see. Not one closure was random. Not one was outside my plan. And now, your hands are finally free to grasp what I've placed ahead of you. This next step requires no striving. It requires your yes. Your quiet, steady yes. That's the key to the door in front of you. And once you walk through, you'll realize why every past entrance had to be shut. You'll realize the weight was never yours to carry, and the drain was never part of your design. This is a new doorway, and it leads to life abundant, holy, and full of me. You may be wondering why tonight feels different, why there's an undeniable stirring deep within that words cannot explain. It's not your imagination, a sigh of fleeting emotion. It's your spirit responding to the divine moment that heaven has been orchestrating for far longer than you realize. This isn't just another night on the calendar. This isn't routine. This moment carries spiritual weight because it has been woven into your journey by my own hand. Before your eyes ever opened to the day, I had already marked this time as sacred. I placed something in your spirit that would awaken now, not sooner, not later. Your soul has been sensing the significance even when your mind couldn't articulate it. And now, the reason for that unease, that longing, that internal tension, it's all converging here, right where I have your full attention. Nothing about this moment is random. The events leading up to tonight, the interruptions, the closed doors, the sudden shifts, they weren't accidents. They were divine disruptions meant to guide you to this exact intersection. You've been drawn here by something higher than understanding. This is the hour I've chosen to shift your trajectory, not by force, but through invitation. I won't barge into your life, I whisper until your soul can't help but respond. And tonight, it's responding. That's why you feel that holy restlessness. That's why you sense something is about to change, even if you can't see the how. This is me calling out to the part of you that has always known there's more. More than surviving. More than striving. More than the limited version of life you've been told to accept. I am meeting you here not to repeat old lessons, but to introduce a new chapter. One that requires your awareness. One that cannot begin until you acknowledge the weight of this night. It's not heavy with fear, it's heavy with destiny. That feeling pressing on your chest, that's my hand, gently reminding you that you're standing on holy ground. I've drawn near because the timing is exact. I've aligned everything so that your spirit would pause and look up. This isn't emotion. This is revelation. Your heart is catching up to what heaven has already confirmed. Too many times, you've dismissed your intuition. You've called yourself overly sensitive, overly spiritual, overly hopeful. But what you called too much was actually your spirit trying to remain sensitive to me in a world that rewards numbness. Don't apologize for your discernment. Don't bury the signals your soul sends you. I placed them there so you wouldn't miss nights like this. Your heart recognized my presence before your mind could reason it out. Trust that instinct. I don't need you to understand everything right now. I need you to recognize that this night is not ordinary. The breakthrough you've waited for, the clarity you've begged me to send, the peace that's been out of reach, it's closer than it has ever been. But you must slow down. You must lean in. You must stop treating your spiritual senses like they're distractions. They're divine indicators. They are compasses pointing to me when logic fails. And right now, every part of your inner being is crying out for deeper alignment, for truth that goes beyond the surface, for direction that no man can offer. I am that direction. I am the answer your spirit hath been waiting to embrace. Not because I come with explanation, but because I come with presence. Don't underestimate this moment. It may seem quiet, but it's mighty. It may feel still, but it's alive. And your decision to stay present, to stay open, is unlocking things that have been held in place for years. You didn't stumble into this timing, it was divinely designed. Everything about this night has been written into your story, not as a footnote, but as a turning point. Receive it for what it is, a divine appointment. Your soul knew, and now I am confirming it. You were right to stay. You were right to listen. This is the moment everything begins to shift, and you are ready. What touched your life with pain was never meant to define you, it was meant to prepare you. I saw how the hurt tried to bury your identity, how the wounds left behind marks that others couldn't see, how you carried burdens in silence, because the world didn't have space for your honesty. But I have always had space. I've never asked you to pretend you were okay. I've never required you to hide the trembling. I welcome every tear, every question, every broken prayer you could barely speak. And now, I'm not just placing my hand over the pain, I'm lifting you through it. I'm not here just to soothe the scars, I'm using them as steps. Steps into your calling. Steps into deeper trust. Steps into authority born through surrender. You believe the healing would be a return to how things were before. But I'm doing more than restoring what was lost. I'm building something higher from the very place where you were knocked down. I am raising you not in pride, but in purpose. The crushing you endured wasn't to destroy you. It was to reveal what couldn't be shaken. And now, from the ashes of what hurt you, I am building strength you never knew was possible. Not a strength that pretends, but one that radiates from peace. Peace that has survived the storm. Peace that knows what pain feels like and still dares to love. You see, your story isn't a sequence of tragedies. It's a testimony of transformation. I allowed certain things to break so you would see what I could rebuild better. I did not cause your suffering, but I will not waste it. What you thought would end you is now the very thing I'm using to elevate you. Not in the eyes of man, but in the dimension of the Spirit. You are rising not because you escaped the trial, but because you surrendered in the middle of it. That surrender is what moves my heart. That surrender is what heaven responds to. And now, because you didn't let the pain poison you, I am lifting you to places where only grace could carry you. There are people who saw the fall, but they will also witness the rise. And when they ask how you got back up, you won't have to explain every detail. Your presence will speak for itself. Your radiance will declare my glory. Because what I'm placing on you now is the evidence that your suffering had purpose. It wasn't in vain. The quiet moments where you held on by a thread were seen. The days you did quit when quitting felt like the only option were recorded in heaven. I've taken every moment and folded it into this unveiling. You are stepping into the part of your journey where what once harmed you becomes the soil for supernatural growth. No longer will you view yourself as a product of pain. You are a vessel of purpose. You are not what they did to you. You are not the betrayal. You are not the failure. You are mine. And what is mine is never left broken. I'm making you whole, but not to return to a former version of yourself. I'm making you whole so that you can walk into rooms with a wholeness that spills into others. Your healing will carry healing. Your elevation will raise others who are still in the shadows you once knew so well. That's how I work. I lift you, not only for you but for those I'm calling you to reach. So tonight, feel my hands not just on your wounds but under your feet. I am raising you in spirit. I'm elevating your vision. I'm lifting your heart above the rubble of yesterday. You may not have asked for the pain, but now you will see the purpose. And when you look back, you'll realize you never rose alone. I was holding you the entire time. And I still am. There were moments when the waiting felt like punishment. When the days stretched long and the answers didn't come, you wondered if you were forgotten. You saw others move ahead while you remained still, and it made you question my love, my timing, even your own worth. But I was never withholding to hurt you, I was covering you. What you saw as denial was divine shelter. What felt like missed chances were actually shields I put in place to guard you from what would have damaged your soul. I didn't say no to break your heart, I said not yet to preserve it. You only saw what was in front of you, but I saw what was around the corner. I saw what you couldn't. I heard conversations behind closed doors. I saw motives hidden beneath kind faces. I saw consequences hiding behind what seemed like opportunity. And so, I paused things not because you weren't ready, but because the environment wasn't worthy of your calling. I care more about your longevity than your speed. You were never created to sprint toward a version of success that compromises your identity. I was preparing more than your destination, I was preparing your endurance. I was building in you a foundation that pressure couldn't crack. And to do that, I had to slow you down. Not to frustrate you, but to fortify you. What you gained in the pause will outlast what others rushed to obtain. You didn't fail, you were being formed. And what I form, I sustain. Others may have moved quicker, but what I'm doing in you will stand through storms they haven't yet faced. You've been asking why the doors didn't open when you were so willing. The truth is, willingness without discernment can become a trap. I loved you too much to let you walk through doors that looked good but led to bondage. That relationship you prayed for, I saw its hidden chains. That opportunity you begged me to release, I saw the snare waiting inside it. I didn't say yes because your heart wasn't valuable. I said wait because your calling is priceless. And now, on this night, I'm revealing what I was guarding you from. You'll begin to understand. The veil is lifting, and clarity is coming. Everything has a season, and the season of unnecessary delay is ending. But don't forget what the waiting taught you. It taught you how to recognize my voice in the silence. It taught you how to walk by faith when nothing made sense. It taught you that you don't need the approval of people to feel secure. You only need my presence. And now, I'm releasing what I held back, not because I've changed it, but because the timing has caught up with the promise. You're stepping into rooms you're now ready to walk in. You'll speak with the authority that waiting shaped within you. What once made you question my presence will now become the evidence of my goodness. The pain of the pause will not follow you into this next chapter. I am leaving it behind. No more rehearsing the why of every delay. I've given you the answer. It was protection, not rejection. You were hidden, not forgotten. And now that the hiding has served its purpose, I'm unveiling the next layer of your purpose. Walk boldly. Don't let the memory of being still make you hesitant. I didn't hold you back, I set you apart. And now, the doors I'm opening will not drain you like the ones I closed. They are designed for your growth. They are aligned with your preparation. And they are guarded by my spirit. So let go of the bitterness tied to the waiting. Let go of the timelines you thought I should follow. Embrace the rhythm of heaven. Know that every pause had a purpose. You were never abandoned. You were being kept for such a time as this. And now, the holding is over. The path is clear. Step forward, not in fear, but in full awareness that I protected you because I love you without condition. This moment was not added to your story at the last minute. It was embedded in eternity long before you ever breathed your first breath. There are appointed hours in a person's life when the natural realm intersects with the divine in a way that leaves nothing unchanged. Tonight is one of those hours. It's not simply a date or a feeling. This is a marker in the unseen, a hinge on which your journey swings into new territory. You may not be able to fully understand what's unfolding, but I have been preparing you to arrive here. Everything leading up to this point, the struggles, the quiet breakthroughs, the delayed answers, the broken dreams, they were all guiding you to this intersection where my plan meets your willingness. You've been asking me to show you when things will shift. You've been waiting for a sign that something meaningful is happening. And now, without needing flashing lights or loud announcements, I am showing you that this is the shift. This is the night when what once felt stuck will begin to loosen. It's the night where clarity will start to replace confusion. I'm not waiting for tomorrow to work. I'm moving now. And you will look back on this moment as the place where it all began to change, not because of external miracles first, but because something eternal shifted inside of you. This isn't about what others can see. It's about what I'm building in the depths of your spirit. The turning point doesn't always arrive with outward celebration. It often begins quietly, within your decision to trust me beyond what your eyes can confirm. That's what makes this sacred. You're not being pulled into an emotional high. You're being ushered into alignment with the plan I wrote long ago, one that doesn't bend to circumstances, but calls circumstances to bow to it. That's what you're stepping into tonight. You've crossed the threshold from hoping something will change to partnering with me in the change itself. The hesitation you once carried is falling away now. The doubts that tried to grip your future are beginning to loosen their hold. Because I have stepped in not as an observer, but as the author. I don't merely stand beside you. I lead the way. And I'm not leading you in circles. I'm leading you forward deliberately, steadily, wisely. This turning point isn't random. It's right on time. And your obedience in this hour will unlock a pace you've never known, one filled with purpose, but free of pressure. I am not rushing you. I'm realigning you. There are people you haven't met yet, assignments you haven't walked into yet, and miracles waiting for your yes tonight. That's how serious this turning point is. I'm preparing to entrust you with more, not because of your perfection, but because of your posture. Your heart is open, your ears are listening, and your spirit is responding. That's all I need. You may not feel qualified, but I qualify those who surrender. You may not feel strong, but I empower the humble. You don't need to know the whole path. Just take the step that's in front of you, and I will illuminate the next one. This is the beginning of a path carved not by your understanding, but by my promise. So pause and recognize the weight of this moment, not as a burden, but as a blessing. You've been invited into something eternal tonight. You're not simply getting through another evening, you're standing in the middle of fulfillment, in motion. You waited, you endured, you remained. And now, heaven responds. The timing has caught up with the word I spoke over you before the foundations of the world. This is not hype, it's holy. This is not coincidence, it's covenant. And as you move forward from here, nothing will be as it was before. Because now, you've crossed into the page that turns the story. And I am writing every line. You've reached a place where shallow obedience will no longer sustain you. This season, this sacred turning, cannot be entered with half-hearted belief or guarded commitment. What I'm preparing to unfold in your life is far too significant to be carried with hesitation. I'm not calling you to be perfect, I'm calling you to be fully mine. You've given me pieces of yourself before, portions you felt safe releasing. But tonight, I'm asking for everything not out of control but out of love. What I am unlocking for you cannot be accessed with conditions attached. It requires the surrender that says, even if I don't understand, I still choose you. The invitation I'm extending is not just to walk with me, but to trust me when you cannot see the full picture. You've asked for doors to open. You praying for clarity, for breakthrough, for provision. And now, I'm placing the keys in your hand. But the locks they fit won't respond to logic. They respond to trust. If you want what I've designed, you must be willing to follow even when the path looks unfamiliar. I've never needed your plans, I've only ever asked for your permission to guide you into mine. You see, what I'm unlocking isn't just access, it's transformation. And transformation demands that you loosen your grip on the way things used to be. I know what you've held on to, certain relationships, expectations, even fears that strangely felt comfortable. But those things cannot go with you where I'm leading. This door only opens to those who travel light. Letting go isn't losing, it's making space for what's coming. And what's coming is far greater than anything you're releasing. You've asked me for more, and I've heard you. But more doesn't flow into a vessel that's already full of the past. Tonight, I'm asking you to pour it out not recklessly, but reverently. Release the need to control outcomes. Release the urge to predict every detail. Release the pressure to prove yourself. These are not requirements for the path ahead. What I am unlocking will stretch you, not because I want to test you, but because I want to expand you. Your faith will need to rise beyond comfort. Your vision will need to reach beyond what's visible. The next level of your journey will demand decisions that don't always make sense to others, but they'll make sense to me, and that's enough. Don't hesitate when I ask you to move. Don't delay when I say now. Your speed of obedience will match the speed of breakthrough. This is not about rushing, it's about readiness. And you, my child, are ready. You may not feel ready, but readiness is not measured by how confident you are, it's measured by how yielded you are. I've watched your heart wrestle with uncertainty, and I am not angry about your questions. But now, I am calling you to shift from wrestling to resting. Rest in me. Rest in the knowing that I am not leading you into harm, I am leading you into promise. Blocks I am opening have been sealed for seasons, not because I was withholding, but because you weren't ready to carry the weight behind them. But now, the moment has come. The door is turning. What's been hidden will now be revealed, and what's been held back is being released. Don't let fear talk you out of your yes. Don't let past disappointments rob you of present miracles. This is the hour to step fully in, not toe the edge. I will not let you fall. I will not abandon you once you say yes. I will go before you, I will surround you, I will uphold you. And when the path gets narrow, I will widen it with my grace. I am the God who finishes what I start, and I have started something in you that is just now being unlocked. So take a breath and let go. Let go of needing every detail explained. Let go of every backup plan. Place your trust not in what you see, but in who I am. Because this door, this sacred, appointed door, is opening now. But it will only stay open for the one who surrenders fully. Will that be you? Right now, the space you occupy may appear familiar. It may be the same room where you've cried, the same place where you've questioned, the same setting where you felt overlooked and weary. But I want you to understand what surrounds you in the natural does not define what's happening in the spirit. I have stepped into the space where you sit. The atmosphere has shifted not because of what's visible, but because of who is present. My presence sanctifies the common. My nearness transforms the forgotten corners into sacred places. And right now, even if everything around you feels mundane, you are standing on holy ground because I am here. You don't need stained glass or music playing to be in my presence. I am not limited to temples made by human hands. I dwell wherever hearts are open. I move wherever surrender is welcomed. You don't have to feel anything dramatic to know I've entered. Holiness doesn't always come with lightning, it often comes with stillness. And in this stillness, I've drawn close to you. Not because you've earned it, but because I've chosen you. This place right here, right now, has been marked by heaven. The floor beneath you may be earthly, but the purpose resting on it is eternal. There are burning bushes in your life that others walked right past, but you stopped long enough to notice me. You leaned in. You opened your heart. And because of that, I have revealed myself. When Moses stood before the bush that burned but was not consumed, he didn't realize he was standing on ground that would launch a destiny. And just like him, you're in a moment that's shifting everything. You're not stuck, you're being summoned. Summoned to listen more carefully. Summoned to remove the shoes of assumption and walk barefoot into deeper revelation. You've prayed for me to come close, and I have. But with my presence comes purpose. And with purpose comes responsibility. I'm not visiting to make you feel good, I'm revealing that you've been chosen to carry something sacred. This ground you're on, it's not just a physical place. It's the ground of transformation. The ground where old mentalities are laid to rest. The ground where fear begins to unravel. The ground where clarity begins to rise. And because it's holy, not everything can come with you beyond this moment. Some things must be left behind here. Doubt, shame, guilt, comparison, these cannot walk on ground that's been made holy by my Spirit. You must decide what you're willing to lay down to step further into what I've prepared. I'm not asking for more effort, I'm asking for more surrender. You may have thought you were forgotten in that ordinary place. You may have wondered if your location disqualified you from being used. But I've always chosen unlikely places to reveal extraordinary plans. A shepherd's field, a prison cell, a fisherman's boat, a stable behind an inn. Holiness doesn't require elegance, it requires encounter. And you are encountering me right now. I'm not only standing beside you, I'm commissioning you from this very ground. What I'm doing through you will depend on platform or position. It will depend on your willingness to recognize the sacred in the seemingly small. So don't overlook what I'm doing just because it's happening in a quiet place. Heaven's greatest moves often begin in hidden spaces. This is not just another hour. This is not just another prayer. You are in a divine meeting that will echo far beyond tonight. And as you become aware of the sacredness of this space, let reverence rise within you. You're not standing on chance, you're standing on promise. I've made this ground holy by my presence. And now, what happens here will carry into every place you walk from this day forward. Remember this moment. Mark it in your heart. For you will speak of it later, not with grand words, but with quiet awe, because this was the hour, this was the place, where the ordinary was touched by the eternal. You're not alone in that room. You're standing where heaven has chosen to meet you, and that makes it holy. You've tried to figure it all out, haven't you? You've examined every detail, weighed every outcome, and replayed every scenario in your mind, hoping to find a sense of certainty before making your next move. But here's what I want you to understand, my beloved: faith doesn't wait for everything to make sense. Faith moves when the only clarity is my voice. Tonight, I'm not inviting you to understand me. I'm inviting you to trust me. And that trust will require you to release the hold logic has it over your heart. Logic has its place, but it cannot lead you where I'm calling you now. You've spent long seasons trying to calculate spiritual outcomes through human reasoning. But I don't operate according to earthly equations. What I'm doing in your life will not be measured by what looks practical or predictable. I move in dimensions far beyond explanation. I open paths where none existed before. I birth outcomes that defy the natural order. If you only follow me where your logic approves, you'll miss miracles that can only be accessed through faith. I've been nudging your heart gently, persistently away from the need to control and into the posture of trust. Because where I'm taking you next cannot be reached with steps that make sense on paper. It can only be entered by those who walk with me by spirit, not by sight. Faith doesn't always feel steady. It doesn't always remove questions. But it makes a decision to move forward anyway. It looks at the uncertainty and chooses obedience anyway. That's what pleases me, not flawless understanding, but fearless surrender. I never asked you to predict what's ahead. I asked you to follow me, step by step, heartbeat by heartbeat. And tonight, I stand before you not with demands, but with direction. A divine doorway is open, but it does not respond to intellect. It responds to belief. And your belief, no matter how trembling or small, is enough to unlock what's waiting. I know how tightly you've held on to your methods. I know how comforted you've been by control. But those very things are now the weight keeping you from flying. Release them. Place your understanding at my feet, and let me exchange it for divine insight. You don't need to know what happens next, you need to know who is leading you. And I am faithful. I am wise. I am already in the outcome, waiting for you to take the first step into it. You're not stepping into emptiness. You're stepping into alignment with my eternal strategy. One that never fails. One that always multiplies the moment you surrender. Letting go of logic doesn't mean abandoning discernment, it means trusting me when discernment surpasses human understanding. There will be moments when you can't explain to others why you're taking a leap. That's okay. They weren't meant to see what I whispered to your spirit. His journey is personal. His calling is unique. And if you wait for universal approval, you'll forfeit what was meant to be individually fulfilled. You don't need validation to move, you need my voice. And I've spoken. So lean in. Not with your mind first, but with your spirit. Let your faith open the doors logic has kept shut. I am not reckless, I am righteous. Every step I ask you to take is ordered and filled with purpose. And even when your surroundings seem uncertain, my presence will anchor you in ways understanding never could. Stop asking for every detail. Start trusting in my design. The clarity will come once you obey, not before. This night holds more than revelation. It holds invitation. I'm drawing you into a place where fear breaks and courage grows. Where obedience isn't based on facts but on faith. And when you pass through this doorway, you'll discover that what seemed risky was actually the safest place to be, inside my will. Let go. Lean in. Trust me. Your faith is your access. And tonight, it is opening something eternal. Look at your journey not through the lens of shame, but through the eyes of grace. Consider what you've walked through, what you've endured, and what tried to crush you but couldn't. Every season you thought would destroy you has become evidence that you are not ordinary. You didn't survive by chance, you survived because you were chosen. There were moments when even you questioned how you were still standing, how your heart kept beating, how your hope somehow kept flickering. That wasn't luck. That was me covering you, sustaining you, surrounding you even when you didn't know it. The fact that you're still here is not a small thing. The weight of the trials, the intensity of the warfare, the depth of the sorrow, it all pointed to the greatness I placed within you. Doris döden fiwa doesn't trendy. The battles you faced weren't random, they were targeted because the enemy feared your becoming. But what he didn't understand is that I was using every blow to shape you. I was turning pain into power. Not power as the world defines it, but the kind that makes you immovable in spirit and unwavering in purpose. Others may have underestimated your strength, but I never did. I knew what you carried. I knew what you were capable of when your heart was fully aligned with mine. That's why I allowed certain storms not to punish, but to prepare. I permitted the fire because I planned to use you in places that required refined endurance. There's a strength being forged in you that can't be developed in easy places. You were called to lead, to carry, to pioneer, and those roles require a level of fortitude that comfort can't teach. That's why your path was different. That's why your process seemed longer. Because what I'm entrusting to you is not small, it's sacred. You were never meant to blend in. You were never designed to follow the crowd. I marked you to stand apart, to carry something weighty, something heavenly. And because of that, your preparation has been intense. I know you didn't always understand it. I know there were times you wished your path looked like theirs, simpler, smoother, more predictable. But what you've carried wasn't punishment, it was preparation for something higher. You were never forgotten, you were being set apart. So when you look back at your story, don't cringe. Don't be ashamed of the chapters filled with tears and silence. Don't hide the pages stained with struggle. Every one of those lines was part of the proving ground. They are now the very testimony that will be used to unlock hope in others. I will use what hurt you to heal others through you. I will take what threatened to break you and turn it into wisdom that guides those still finding their way. Nothing was wasted. Not a moment. Not a wound. Not a single silent cry. I'm bringing you into a season where the survival you once begged for will turn into purpose you never imagined. What you barely crawled through, I'm going to use as a platform. Not to elevate you for your own glory, but to show others that I truly do redeem all things. You will speak from places of authenticity. You won't need to pretend. You won't need to embellish. Just your presence, your perseverance, your peace will carry authority because it was earned in the fire and gifted by grace. So lift your head. Walk differently from here. Stop disqualifying yourself based on what you came through. Instead, recognize that your survival was a sign of divine selection. You weren't meant to quit. You were made to carry glory. And what's coming next will not be a repeat of old pain, it will be a revealing of hidden purpose. You survived for a reason, and that reason is now beginning to unfold. There's something I want to free you from tonight, the burden of trying to be flawless. You've spent too much time measuring yourself against impossible standards, striving to meet expectations that I never placed on you. You thought I needed excellence before access. You believed I was waiting for perfection before invitation. But that's not how I work. I never called the polished, I called the willing. I've never required a perfect vessel, only an open one. And tonight, I want you to hear me clearly. I'm not waiting for you to fix yourself. I'm waiting for you to say yes. You've been delaying your next step because you think you're not ready. You're still battling thoughts like, I need to heal more. I should be stronger by now, or I'm too broken to carry anything holy. But those thoughts didn't come from me. I know exactly where you are. I know the scars you carry and the thoughts you wrestle with in the quiet. None of that disqualifies you. What disqualifies is not weakness but refusal to trust. And you, even in your struggle, have kept your heart tender toward me. That's what I'm looking for. I can use someone who waddles but still walks. I can use someone who doubts, as long as they don't disconnect. I'm not afraid of your imperfections. I'm only hindered when you won't surrender. There's a lie you've believed that says you need to be further along before you can be used. But some of the most powerful moves of my spirit have come through people in the middle of their journey. People who said yes even when they felt inadequate. People who obeyed before they understood. People who were honest enough to admit their limitations and brave enough to let me fill the gap. Your willingness is the only doorway I need. Once you open that door, I step in and begin to work through you, not by your strength, but by my spirit. You've been focused on your flaws, but I see your faith. And it may not feel loud or impressive, but it's real. It's the kind that whispers yes through trembling lips. It's the kind that shows up, even when discouraged. It's the kind that bends but refuses to break. That's the kind of faith I honor. That's the kind of heart I anoint. What I'm about to release in your life won't be because you achieved some invisible standard. It will be because you finally accepted that my power is made perfect in your weakness. Stop trying to edit yourself into someone you think I'll love more. I already love you completely. Nothing you do will make me love you more, and nothing you've done will make me love you less. The performance mentality you've picked up from the world has no place in our relationship. This is not a contest, it's a covenant. And I never based this covenant on your ability. I based it on my promise. So here's what I ask of you tonight. Be willing. Willing to trust me with what you don't yet understand. Willing to say yes even if your hands still tremble. Willing to believe that I can do something holy with something human. I've never needed a perfect heart. I've only needed an available one. And yours is. That's why I'm speaking this to you now, because I know that deep down, you want to please me. And I want to reassure you, you already do. Your hunger for me is evidence of your calling. Your desire to follow me, even when you feel unsure, proves that you're exactly who I've chosen. There is no waiting room of worthiness. There is only surrender. And surrender doesn't mean having all the answers, it means offering me all your questions and choosing to follow anyway. That's what changes everything. So don't wait for the day when you feel ready. Ready is a myth that keeps people stuck. Willingness is what unlocks the next step. And I see your heart, it's open, it's tender, and it's enough. I'm ready to move. All I ask is, will you let me? There were seasons when it felt like your prayers echoed into a void. You waited for answers, signs, confirmations, anything to remind you that I was still near. But all you heard was quiet. And in that quiet, doubt crept in. You began to wonder if I had withdrawn, if my absence meant indifference. You searched your heart, trying to uncover what you had done wrong. You looked for sin to confess, for words to rearrange, for any reason to explain why the heavens felt closed. But I was never distant. I wasn't ignoring you. I was working in ways you couldn't see, building what your faith wasn't yet ready to hold. You see, silence is not always absence. Often, it is the setting where deep transformation takes place. When I don't speak, it's not because I'm gone, it's because I'm forming something eternal. In those quiet seasons, I was cultivating strength beneath the surface. I was setting things in motion that would take root in time, not in moments. While your heart longed for sound, mine was busy establishing foundations. I was aligning people, opening pathways, rearranging things on your behalf in realms far beyond what you could access with your natural eyes. Heaven was not still, it was strategic. My hand never paused, even when my voice did. If you could only glimpse what I was building in the silence, you would weep with gratitude. You thought nothing was happening, but that stillness was sacred. I was strengthening your spirit to walk in maturity, not just emotion. I was teaching you to rely on presence, not just words. Because my love doesn't always arrive with volume, it often comes wrapped in quiet assurance. That quiet wasn't punishment, it was preparation. I wanted you to know me beyond goosebumps and chills. I wanted you to know that even in stillness, I remain faithful. And now, as I begin to unveil what I've been orchestrating in secret, you will understand why it took time. Why I couldn't reveal everything too soon. Why I needed to make sure your heart was fully anchored in me, not in the outcome. Silence is where I teach trust. Not shallow trust that lasts only when you feel something, but deep trust that grows when there's nothing to hold on to except my promise. And that is the kind of trust you developed, even when you didn't realize it. Every day you chose to keep praying, even when I didn't respond, your spirit was being refined. Every moment you stayed close, even when you couldn't feel me, your character was being shaped. You passed tests you didn't even know you were taking. And now, I'm bringing you into a season where what was hidden will begin to be revealed. You'll begin to see the fruit of the faithfulness you sowed in the quiet. The silence taught you how to walk by truth, not by emotion. That's why you're ready now, ready to carry what would have overwhelmed you before. You may not see the full picture yet, but you'll begin to notice the pieces connecting. What once felt delayed will now feel perfectly timed. What once seemed empty will now overflow. The silence is breaking, not with noise but with fulfillment. You are entering a time of divine unveiling. What I whispered in the dark, I'm about to release in the light. So know, you were never abandoned. You were being cultivated. And just like a seed breaks open beneath the soil in secret before it ever reaches the surface, your growth happened out of you so it could be protected. Now it's time. What I nurtured in silence is ready to emerge. Don't resent the quiet, honor it. It was the birthplace of the new you. You've questioned the pace of your life so many times. You've looked at the clock, the calendar, the expectations others set, and wondered why things didn't unfold when you thought they should. You've compared your timeline to others and felt like you were behind. You've wrestled with discouragement when the doors stayed shut longer than you anticipated. But hear me now, my timing is not based on pressure. It is based on purpose. I do not move according to human measurement. I move when the moment is holy, not merely convenient. What feels late to your heart has always been perfectly timed in mine. You are not falling behind. You're being prepared with precision. The world rushes. It celebrates speed. But I build what lasts, and things that are eternal do not develop in haste. I care about the depth of your roots, not just the visibility of your fruit. If I gave you everything you prayed for when you asked for it, it would not have carried the weight of lasting glory. I have not denied you, I have preserved you. I have hidden you, not to punish but to protect. Because what I've ordained for your life requires strength beneath the surface. And now, with every beat of your heart that has endured in the waiting, you are becoming ready to carry what I have stored. My timeline has never been about delay, it has always been about alignment. There are people you needed to meet, situations that needed to shift, hearts that needed to be softened, including your own. There were details that had to move into place behind the scenes so that when I opened the door, it would not be just another opportunity, it would be a divine appointment. I don't just give access. I give timing. And when I say it's time, there is nothing in heaven or on earth that can stop what I've set into motion. I want you to stop carrying the burden of unmet expectations. Let go of the storylines you created in your mind about where you should be by now. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are right where I need you to be in this exact hour. The pressure you feel to catch up is not coming from me. I am not in a hurry. I am in control. And when I begin to release what I have ordained, it will not be slow, it will be swift. Because you will be ready. And because the delay has allowed everything to ripen. You've walked through seasons that felt barren, but those were not wasted years. They were sacred. They were filled with shaping, grooming, preparing, and refining. And though it felt like nothing was happening, I was preparing the atmosphere for transformation. Timing in my kingdom is not based on chance, it is built on divine orchestration. You are not waiting for time to pass. You're waiting for purpose to collide with heaven's cue. And that moment is drawing near. Don't rush ahead. Don't try to create outcomes in your own strength. What you build outside of my timing will never carry the weight of glory. But what you wait for with me will surpass anything you imagine. It will come with peace, with favor, and with permanence. You don't need to make it happen, I will open the way. You just need to be found faithful where you are. And you have been. I've seen it. I've honored it. I've treasured every quiet act of trust, every whispered prayer, every moment you chose hope instead of despair. So breathe, child. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're in the center of my will, and my will is right on time. When it begins to unfold, you will realize why I waited. You will see the beauty in the delay. You will understand that I wasn't being slow, I was being strategic. And everything I release will be worth the wait. Trust my timing. It is not delayed, it is divine. Not everyone around you will comprehend what I'm stirring in your heart. They haven't seen the visions I've shown you in the night. They didn't hear the whispers I placed inside your spirit when you were on the verge of giving up. I've been speaking directly to you, and that kind of calling doesn't always make sense to those who haven't been assigned to carry it. You've waited long enough for agreement. You've held back, hoping for validation from voices that were never meant to confirm your steps. But I am your confirmation. My instruction is your signal. And when I say move, you do not need permission from anyone else to obey. Obedience is not a group decision, it's a personal surrender. I didn't call a crowd. I called you. And the weight of your calling cannot be carried through consensus. I'm asking you to rise in confidence, not arrogance. There's a quiet boldness I'm giving you, not to prove anything, but to proceed with purpose. You don't have to wait for applause to know it's me. You don't need nods of approval to walk in the direction I'm leading. If you wait for everyone to understand, you'll delay movements that were meant to happen now. There are assignments I've placed in your hands that others would overlook or minimize. But I've trained you to see what matters in my kingdom, not what impresses the world. The things I've shown you, the convictions, the dreams, the ideas, they were entrusted to you because your heart is yielded. And now I'm requiring faith that isn't shaken by misunderstanding. You will be misread. You will be questioned. But when your steps are rooted in my voice, their confusion cannot derail my outcome. You've played small to keep peace. You dimmed your light to avoid tension. But child, I never called you to be invisible. I called you to be obedient. There will be times when I lead you into places others cannot follow. And you must be okay with walking alone if it means walking with me. Your obedience is not rebellion, it's alignment. And sometimes, alignment with me means disconnection from familiar patterns, environments, even people. This is not about isolation, it's about consecration. I'm setting you apart, not to remove you from love, but to prepare you for influence that can't be contaminated by outside opinions. What I am about to do through you will not follow formulas. It won't fit into man-made boxes. That's why I'm preparing your heart now to trust me over everything else. I am leading you through territory that requires courage, not comfort. You cannot carry what's next and still cling to the need for universal agreement. Faith requires action, and action without the applause of men still shakes heaven and earth when it is rooted in me. Remember Abraham? I told him to go before I told him where. He obeyed, and through his obedience I birthed nations. This is your moment to move. Not because you have every detail, but because you have my direction. And that is enough. I will not abandon you when the road becomes unfamiliar. I will not leave you when your obedience brings questions from those around you. I will walk with you, speak to you, sustain you. But I need your yes to remain steady, even when it's lonely. The more you wait for everyone else to be ready, the more you risk missing what is ready now. I have gone ahead of you. The provision is already in place. The favor has already been released. The open door isn't waiting for the crowd, it's waiting for your obedience. Move now, even if it feels quiet. Move now, even if no one claps. Move now, because I said go. You're not being reckless, you're being obedient. And that obedience will unlock what hesitation never could. So take the step. Let them wonder. Let them watch. I will show through your walk what they could never see through words. You do not walk alone. I walk with you. I watch the war taking place within you. A quiet tug of war between what you believe and what you fear. The tension that pulls you between trusting me completely and trying to calculate every step. I've seen the moments when your heart said yes, but your mind flooded with questions. I've seen the battle between your faith and your logic, the longing to follow me fully and the hesitation to let go of what feels safe. But I haven't turned away from that conflict, I've stepped into it. I'm not here to condemn you for wrestling. I'm here to bring peace to the storm within your soul. You don't need to pretend anymore. You don't need to carry the pressure of appearing strong while quietly falling apart. I already know the depth of your confusion, and I'm not overwhelmed by it. My spirit is not intimidated by your uncertainty. I don't back away when you doubt, I draw closer when you let me in. Tonight, I'm reaching into the fog of your indecision, and I'm bringing a light that doesn't flicker. The clarity I give is not based on circumstances becoming easy, it's born from intimacy with me. The more you lean into my presence, the more your vision sharpens. Not through human understanding, but through spiritual alignment. You've been seeking clarity through external signs, but the answers you're searching for are already inside the stillness where I dwell. Your peace won't be found in loud affirmations or worldly confirmation. It will be found in the gentle confidence that grows when you remain close to me. Stop trying to understand your next move by collecting opinions that shift like sand. I've placed my wisdom within you. My spirit whispers direction that your flesh may not always agree with, but your soul recognizes the sound. That recognition is me. Clarity doesn't always come as a 5-step plan. Sometimes it comes as a quiet knowing, a persistent nudge that keeps surfacing even when logic says otherwise. You've tried to silence that voice, afraid you were imagining things. But I want you to know that inner pull toward something deeper, that whisper you can't shake, that feeling you're supposed to move forward even without details, that's not your imagination. That's me, inviting you into deeper trust. The conflict you felt is not a sign that you're broken, it's proof that your heart is awake. It's evidence that you desire to walk in step with me. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be wrestling. But the very fact that you feel this tension shows you are being called higher. The spirit in you is resisting what's convenient, because I created you for what's divine. And while the path ahead may still feel unclear in the natural, your spirit is being prepared to walk in boldness. Let me resolve the tension. Let me quiet the noise. Let me be the voice you follow when every other voice becomes a distraction. You don't need more information, you need more intimacy. Because in my presence, confusion dissolves and direction becomes clear. When you stop trying to figure it out and simply sit with me, I will speak in ways the world can never counterfeit. I know you want to make the right decision. I know you fear taking the wrong step. But I promise if you stay connected to me, I will lead you in peace even when the road isn't marked. I never called you to walk this path by sight, I called you to walk it by trust. And I reward the ones who follow me in the dark. I reveal what is needed when it's needed. And tonight, I'm settling your anxious thoughts. This is the hour where clarity meets obedience. Not because you suddenly know everything, but because you know me. You don't need to have all the answers, you only need to know the one who does. And I am with you. I am not distant. I am not silent. I am leading you through the unrest, into resolve. That clarity your heart has been craving. It begins here in stillness, in surrender, in me. That weight pressing on your chest, that uneasiness in your thoughts, that tugging you can't quite explain, it's not anxiety, it's awakening. You've mistaken the pressure for something negative, but what you're feeling isn't punishment, it's positioning. Heaven is drawing you into a moment of deep realignment. What feels like discomfort is really the sound of chains breaking inside of you. You're not being pushed down, you're being pulled forward. And the tension you're feeling right now is the space between who you were and who I've called you to be. You've been sensing change coming, even though you can't see the full picture. That's not random. It's the divine pull of your calling growing louder than your comfort. You've outgrown what once sustained you, and now your soul knows it's time to stretch. I'm not allowing you to feel settled in shallow waters, because I created you for the deep. And the deep comes with resistance, Not because you're going the wrong way, but because the right way requires growth. You've tried to ignore this feeling. You've distracted yourself. You told yourself it's just a phase. But it hasn't gone away, has it? Because it's me. I'm the one stirring your spirit while everything else seems unchanged. I'm the one igniting restlessness in places where you once felt content, because I'm preparing you for movement. Purpose rarely begins with celebration. It usually starts with tension, internal stretching, breaking of old patterns, releasing of false identities. That's what's happening now. The tension is a sign that transition is near. It's me nudging you to stop shrinking to fit old versions of yourself. It's me separating you from environments that no longer speak life into your soul. It's me pushing you away from cycles that kept you distracted. You've been circling the same mountains, repeating the same inner dialogues, hoping something would shift externally. But I'm changing things from the inside out. That unease you feel, it's not chaos. It's construction. I'm reordering your desires, exposing what's not eternal, and carving out space for what matters most. Don't resist the stretching. Don't numb it. Don't rush past it. The stretching is sacred. It means your spirit is waking up to the greater assignment. It means you're being equipped for impact. And yes, it's uncomfortable. But purpose always is. The caterpillar does not become a butterfly in comfort. There is a wrestle in the cocoon. There is a process before the wings. And that's where you are, between the wrestle and the reveal. Between the pressure and the promise. You're not being left behind. You're being elevated. Totally. Intentionally. Eternally. And I'm not asking you to enjoy the tension, I'm asking you to interpret it correctly. It's not a sign that something is wrong. It's confirmation that everything is shifting. So instead of asking me to remove it, ask me to help you walk through it. Instead of running, lean into it. Walk to me in the midst of it. Let me show you the transformation that's taking place within your spirit. I haven't brought you this far to leave you confused. I'm bringing clarity, but it's coming through surrender, not escape. If you try to avoid this holy pressure, you'll delay what I'm developing inside of you. But if you embrace it, you'll emerge with authority that no platform can give and no storm can take. This is not the tension of failure, it's the pressure of birth. And what's being born is purpose shaped by heaven, not human hands. So breathe. You are not breaking, you are expanding. You are not unraveling, you are being rewired. Trust me with the tension. Let it guide you, not cry you. You are being pulled, not pushed. Pulled toward your assignment. Pulled toward your deeper identity. Pulled toward a life that fully reflects me. This is your turning point, and it is heavy for a reason. But my grace is greater than the pressure, and I will carry you through it into the fullness of what you were always meant to become. There are moments that seem small on the surface but carry eternal significance, and this is one of them. The decision you make in your heart tonight may feel quiet, even unnoticed by those around you, but in the spirit, it echoes like thunder. Your willingness to say yes to me right now fully, without conditions, is not just about your future. It is rewriting the influence of your past. What was once binding you in cycles, patterns, and pain will begin to break because of your surrender. This is not just a yes for where you're going, it's a release from everything that tried to hold you back from arriving. When you say yes to me tonight, you're not just stepping into something new, you're declaring that the old no longer has authority, that pain no longer governs your pace, that regret no longer dictates your direction, that shame no longer holds the pen in your story. This yes is not born of fear but of freedom. You're not choosing me because you're afraid of what happens if you don't. You're choosing me because you finally realize who you are when you do. And that realization, child, is a shift in the heavens. A shift that doesn't just affect your life, it will impact those around you for generations. The enemy fought hard to keep you from this moment. He sent distractions, delays, disappointments, all to make you doubt your place in my plan. He knew that once you aligned your will with mine, his grip would begin to break. But here you are, trembling maybe, but still standing. Listening, choosing. And that choice is a weapon. It is dismantling the lies that said you were too late, too broken, too far gone. It is severing agreements you didn't even know you made with fear, with unworthiness, with spiritual apathy. Your yes is tearing down altars that were built in seasons of survival and replacing them with a place where my presence will dwell. You've waited for a breakthrough that looked like a dramatic miracle, but sometimes breakthrough looks like finally surrendering. Finally choosing me over logic. Finally responding even when your emotions haven't caught up. Your yes is not just a gesture, it's a doorway. And once you walk through, you will see that things begin to move. Not because of what you've earned, but because of who you've allowed me to be in your life. This decision, this alignment, it's sacred. Not because of the volume, but because of the depth. Heaven isn't waiting for crowds to notice, it's waiting for hearts to yield. And yours has. Quietly, consistently, sincerely. And now, that agreement between your spirit and mine will become a seed of transformation. Things that once seemed immovable will begin to respond to your yes. Doors that remained locked will sense your surrender and swing wide. Not because you forced them, but because you finally stopped fighting me and started trusting me. You may not feel different right away. You may not see fireworks or flashes of glory. But make no mistake, what shifted in this moment is very real. It is permanent. I honor what the world ignores. I see what the crowd overlooks. And I am responding to your yes with a release of purpose that cannot be reversed. It is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is rooted in the soil of obedience, and I will water it myself. So do not second-guess what you've just done. Don't downplay it. Don't run back to old places seeking affirmation. Stand in what you've chosen. Let your yes tonight be the boundary that protects your tomorrow. Let it be the flame that guides your next steps. Let it be the sound that drowns out every lie that ever told you that you couldn't change. Because you are changing. Right now. Not in theory, but in truth. And this yes, it is your agreement with heaven's call. A call that will never expire, never be revoked, and never go unanswered. I am already moving because of it. And everything behind you must now bow to what I have spoken over you. The past has no hold on a surrendered heart. And tonight, yours has been fully given. And I call that holy. You've been walking through a transformation that's not just about you, it's about everyone your life touches. What I'm doing within you is rippling outward in ways you haven't even imagined yet. The shift that's happening in your spirit, the healing I'm working in your heart, the clarity I'm giving in your mind, it's preparing you to become a conduit of change for those connected to your journey. I'm not only rewriting your outcome, I'm using your obedience to influence the trajectory of others who are silently watching, listening, and learning from your surrender. This is bigger than your breakthrough. It's about legacy. I see the unseen influence you carry, the words you speak, the way you respond when no one acknowledges your effort, the choices you make when no one is watching. Heaven sees it all. And while you've sometimes felt like your progress is invisible, it's actually being multiplied in the background. The choices you're making in private are setting others free in places you've never even walked into. Every time you choose peace over panic, every time you pick hope instead of despair, you are opening unseen doors for those who are still trapped in their own battles. I am using your yes as a seed of transformation, not just in you, but through you. You've asked me to bless your family, your friends, your circle, and I heard that prayer. But my way of answering it often starts with refining the one who stood in the gap. That's you. I'm refining you so that the fire I place in your spirit will burn with such purity that others will find warmth just by being near you. They'll find direction by watching you walk closely with me. They'll find courage by witnessing your resilience. You don't need a platform to be influential. You just need intimacy with me, and you've chosen that. Your life will be the evidence that change is possible. You're breaking patterns that have lingered in bloodlines for generations. Not because you shouted louder, but because you submitted deeper. This isn't about striving, it's about becoming the kind of person who lives in such communion with me that their very presence speaks without words. You're not here to impress. You're here to embody what grace looks like in motion. That grace is contagious. It will touch hearts you've never met. It will prepare places for those who will come behind you. There are children who will walk in freedom because of the chains you chose to confront. There are siblings, friends, and strangers whose eyes will open because of the light I've placed inside of you. Don't underestimate the ripple effect of your surrender. You were never meant to be the final stop. You're a vessel, a carrier, an ambassador of my presence. And everywhere you go, that presence will shift the atmosphere. Not because you force it, but because you've allowed me to fill you. I'm changing stories through you, not because you have all the answers, but because you've allowed me to be your answer. The humility you've cultivated has made room for my power to flow without obstruction. That's why the change is lasting. That's why the change is real. You're not putting on a show, you're living a surrendered life. And that kind of life carries the authority to dismantle strongholds just by staying faithful. So lift your head. Your influence is not small. Your obedience is not wasted. The quiet sacrifices you've made are building something eternal. I'm not only changing the story you tell yourself, I'm changing the stories others will tell because they encountered you. You are becoming a walking testimony that redemption is real, that freedom is possible, that healing could happen. And all of this began the moment you said yes, not just for your sake, but for theirs. You are not isolated. You are woven into something so much bigger. And through you, I'm writing new stories, ones that carry my name, my power, and my promise. They will look at you and see me. This is how I change the world, one surrendered life at a time. And now, through you, another chapter begins. You've been praying for answers, trying to find relief through solutions. You searched for closure in conversations, resolution in outcomes, and clarity in circumstances. But what I want you to understand is this: peace is not the result of everything being fixed. Peace is the fruit of letting go. You've been holding on to questions that were never meant to be answered the way you imagined. You've replayed scenes, re-examined choices, and rethought decisions, hoping it would ease the ache. But true peace will not arrive when everything makes sense. It comes the moment you release what you cannot control into my hands. I never asked you to carry the weight of every why. I never designed you to bear the pressure of solving every detail. That pressure you feel is not from me. I am not the one who demands perfection in understanding. I am the one who offers rest in surrender. There are things you've tried to reason your way through, hoping that logic would deliver freedom. But logic cannot heal what only my presence can touch. And tonight, I am inviting you to stop striving for explanation and start receiving the peace that comes with trust. There is a kind of freedom that only comes when you release the need to make it all add up. I know how much it hurt when things fell apart. I know the longing in your soul for closure from people who walked away without explanation. I know the pain of unspoken words and unresolved moments. But if you keep waiting for resolution before you move forward, you will stay trapped in the past. Peace isn't about getting the last word, it's about giving me the final say. And when you place it all at my feet, the misunderstandings, the betrayals, the unfinished conversations, I can turn what wounded you into wisdom that will guide you. The past does not have the right to shape your pace anymore. Stop allowing what didn't end neatly to slow down your obedience. Not every chapter ends with a conclusion. Some just end, and that's enough. I am not limited to closure to begin something new. I can build on ashes. I can launch you from unresolved places. Because I am the God who brings meaning even when the story doesn't make sense. I know how to carry you forward without needing to go back. Release doesn't mean you approve of what happened. It means you trust me more than you trust your understanding. It means you believe I'm capable of redeeming even the pieces that were mishandled. Release is not defeat, it's deliverance. It means the pain no longer dictates your decisions. It means you stop rehearsing the same memories and start returning to the stillness where I speak peace over your heart. When you release, you make space for something new to breathe. And I'm ready to fill that space with peace that surpasses every answer you thought you needed. You're not weak for needing peace. You're not a failure because you feel tired of carrying it all. I never intended for you to carry this alone. That's why I've been waiting here, not to give you a checklist, but to give you rest. Not temporary relief, but lasting calm. A peace that doesn't depend on the behavior of others. A peace that isn't built on predictable outcomes. A peace that is rooted in me. And when you let go, even if your hands feel empty, your soul will feel full. You've been strong long enough. You've carried it long enough. Let me hold it now. Let me carry the weight. You're not surrendering in weakness, you're yielding in wisdom. And what you release tonight will no longer rule you tomorrow. What you let go of in faith will be replaced with grace. I am not asking you to understand it all, I am asking you to trust that I do. That is where peace begins. Not at the finish line of answers, but at the altar of surrender. And tonight, that altar is here. The peace you've been searching for is already available. Just let go and receive it. You've been trying so hard to manage the weight you were never meant to hold. You've carried responsibility for outcomes that were always mine. You've walked with burdens that disguised themselves as obligations, pain masked as purpose, guilt disguised as loyalty, fear dressed as caution. But I need you to hear me now. The cross was never just a symbol, it was a transaction. I took your heaviness, your shame, your sorrow, your striving. And yet, here you are, still trying to hold what I've already carried to completion. You weren't created to live burdened by invisible chains. I didn't raise you to survive under the weight of emotional pressure, spiritual fatigue, or mental exhaustion. I created you to walk in freedom, not partial freedom, but complete release. You've become so accustomed to the weight that it feels normal. But just because you've gotten used to it doesn't mean I intend for you to keep it. I didn't set you apart so you could suffer silently beneath the expectations of others or the pressure of your own perfectionism. I came to lift you out of that. I came to bear the load with you and for you. There are thoughts you've wrestled with that were never yours to entertain. Lies about your worth. Accusations over your past. Condemning voices that echo in your mind, questioning your value, your future, your place in my plan. I silenced those voices the moment I declared, "It is finished." Yet they've tried to come back and convince you that you're still bound. But you're not. You're not disqualified. You're not defective. You're not forgotten. You are redeemed, and that redemption wasn't partial or temporary. It was full, final, and forever. I know there are days you still feel weighed down. You look around and wonder why you feel so heavy when you're trying so hard to move forward. The answer is simple: you were never meant to carry it alone. You've been running with too much. Trying to fix everything. Trying to hold everyone together. Trying to prove your strength by not falling apart. But I never asked you to hold up the world. That's my job. I didn't ask you to be unbreakable, I asked you to be surrendered. I don't need your performance. I long for your presence. Come to me with your honesty, not your polished answers. Come to me tired, not put together. Let me carry what's been suffocating your spirit. You don't need to explain it all. I already know. I felt the moment your heart broke. I saw the exact point where you picked up more than you were assigned to. I've been waiting not for you to fix it, but for you to bring it. To bring every weight, every worry, every wound. I specialize in burdens exchanged for rest. That is my invitation, always. And when you release what was never meant to stay, you'll find breath where there was tightness. You'll discover clarity where there was fog. You'll notice joy returning where heaviness once ruled. This is not just spiritual talk, this is transformation. The kind that begins when you stop managing your pain and start giving it to me. You were not called to carry guilt like a badge. You were not created to wear weariness like a second skin. I clothe you in righteousness, not responsibility for what's beyond your reach. So take your hands off of what's breaking you. Give me the parts of your life that feel too overwhelming. Hand over the pressures you hidden under a smile. I will not reject you for being tired. I will not shame you for struggling. I came for the worn out, the burdened, the weary-hearted, and I call you mine. Let this be the night you put it down. A grief, a fear, a self-blame, the expectation to be everything to everyone. Lay it here. I'm not watching to see if you collapse. I'm opening my arms to catch you when you finally do. And when you release it, you'll realize I've been here all along, strong enough to carry you, loving enough to never let go, and gentle enough to whisper, "You're free now." Walk like it. Breathe like it. Live like the burden is no longer yours, because it's not. You've been wondering what all of this has been for the long nights, the quiet battles, the times when you felt like your progress was invisible. You've looked at the road you've walked and questioned whether any of it has led somewhere meaningful. But hear me clearly, nothing in your journey has been wasted. I have been constructing something deeper than your eyes can see. Not just outcomes, but endurance. Not just breakthroughs, but unshakable foundation. And while the surface may still look ordinary, the structure beneath your spirit is being reinforced by heaven. I'm not building something quick, I'm building something eternal. What I'm forming inside of you cannot be rushed. I'm developing a strength in you that storms will bow to. I'm weaving character that no applause or criticism can alter. And this process, though quiet and slow, is holy. It's the kind of growth that doesn't always show up in headlines, but is felt in every word you speak, every room you walk into, every soul you touch with my presence. The evidence of this transformation won't be loud, but it will be lasting. You've seen others rise fast and fall faster. You've watched people celebrate heights they weren't ready to sustain. I've kept you grounded not to deny you, but to prepare you. Because what I'm giving you won't need to be chased, it will rest on you. My glory doesn't come through shortcuts. It rests where the heart has been refined, where the soul has been humbled, where the spirit has learned to remain even when results don't come instantly. That's what I've been doing in you. Establishing a depth that can carry what's coming next. I know there are days when you feel unseen. I know the hiddenness has made you wonder if you've missed your moment. But you haven't missed anything. I've been shielding you, not sidelining you. I've hidden you on purpose, because the work I'm doing in private is too sacred to be exposed too soon. If I elevated you before this foundation was ready, the pressure would have crushed you. But now, because you stayed, because you trusted, because you allowed me to work beneath the surface, you're becoming ready to rise in a way that nothing can shake. Don't despise the quiet construction. Don't rush the timing. Your pace is not slow, it's sustainable. You're being rooted so deeply that when the winds come, you won't even sway. You'll remain. You'll stand. You'll shine not from striving, but from stability. Because your identity won't be built on temporary things. It will be built on me. And I never change. I never fade. I never fail. You pay for input, for wheat, for fear, and I heard you. But more than that, I've answered by first giving you what can sustain those things: integrity, patience, discernment, resilience. You won't have to pretend to carry what I'm about to place in your hands. You'll be ready for it because you've been prepared by fire and refined by grace. You'll walk in rooms that once intimidated you and feel peace. You'll face challenges that would have broken you before and now feel anchored. Not because life got easier, but because you've grown stronger in me. This is the kind of strength that can't be taught in books or borrowed from others. It's earned in the quiet, yes. It's built through surrender in the secret place. And you, my child, have chosen that path even when no one clapped, even when no one saw. But I saw. That heaven recorded every step, every tear, every prayer. And now, I'm sealing the foundation. I'm calling it ready. You're not empty, you're equipped. You're not overlooked, you're ordained. So don't look around for signs that you've arrived. Look within. Feel the stillness that once was chaos. Feel the certainty that replaced the striving. That's the proof. That's the reward. And soon, the world will see what I've been shaping all along. But for now, rest in knowing what I'm building in you cannot be undone, not by time, not by trial, not by the opinions of man. It's established, and it will stand. There are things I've planted in you that no storm, no failure, no heartbreak can erase. I know how disappointment has tried to settle in your soul like a heavy fog. I know how life's detours have made you question whether the dreams I placed in your heart are still alive. You've watched seasons pass, doors close, and opportunities dissolve, and in the silence, you've quietly wondered if something inside you died too. But I'm telling you now, nothing I've deposited within you has expired. No delay has disqualified you. No failure has canceled the calling I spoke over your life. Disappointment is real, yes, but it is not final. It is a shadow that tries to block the light of what I'm still doing. It whispers that it's over. It convinces you to expect less, hope smaller, dream safer. But I never called you to live protected by fear. I called you to live marked by faith. And faith means believing even when the path no longer looks like what you imagined. Faith means trusting that I'm still moving, even when the outcomes you expected have not arrived. You may feel like parts of you were lost in the letdowns. You may feel like you left pieces of your passion behind in places where you were misunderstood, overlooked, or misused. But what I give you cannot be stolen. It may have been buried for a time beneath discouragement, beneath fatigue, beneath confusion, but buried is not dead. It's just hidden, waiting for the right moment to rise again. And now, in this very hour, I'm calling it back to the surface. You don't need to create a new dream. You just need to uncover the one I gave you before the disappointment tried to bury it. It's still there, still breathing, still mine. I'm stirring it again, not with pressure, but with peace. I'm awakening the parts of you that once lived boldly, prayed courageously, and walked without apology. That fire didn't go out. It flickered, yes, but I protected the ember. And now I'm breathing on it. Don't be afraid to believe again. Don't be afraid to hope again. I'm not asking you to return to old patterns. I'm inviting you to step into renewed vision. Not a copy of what you once had, but a stronger, deeper version refined through pain and matured through perseverance. What you carry now isn't just potential, it's power. Because it's been tested. And what survives the fire becomes something holy. That's what's inside you. Let me remind you, I don't waste disappointment. I use it. I use it to redirect, to reveal, to rebuild. Some of the things that didn't work out were actually me saving you from outcomes that would have drained you. I shut certain doors to preserve your strength. I allowed certain endings so that you could encounter a better beginning. I know it hurt. I was there for every moment of silence, every prayer that seemed to vanish. But I was never ignoring you, I was building you. And what I'm built cannot be undone by laws. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are not too late. I specialize in resurrection, and that includes every dormant purpose you thought was beyond reach. I'm not simply reviving your dreams, I'm reviving you. The real you. The one who hasn't stopped desiring more, even if the words have faded. I see through the surface. I see the spark. And I call it good. So stand up from the grave of your disappointment. Wipe the dust from your faith. Dredge again. Breath again. Move again. You're not starting from scratch, you're starting from surrender. And surrender is where I do my greatest work. The seeds I planted in you will bloom not because you forced them to, but because I never stopped watering them with grace. This is your season not to strive, but to step forward, knowing that what I began in you cannot stay buried. You've walked through rooms where your presence was unnoticed, spoken words that fell unheard, carried dreams that seemed invisible to the world around you. You served faithfully in silence, given generously without recognition, and held hope in seasons where no one saw the weight you were carrying. I saw it all. Not one act of faith, not one hidden cry, not one internal battle passed by without my full attention. You were never overlooked, you were observed by me, completely and constantly, in ways no one else could ever match. I know how it feels when your efforts are unseen, when others are celebrated while you remain in the shadows, when you do the right thing and receive no response. But I need you to know this truth. I have never stopped noticing. Your life is not a blur in the crowd. To me, it is a masterpiece, being shaped moment by moment. I'm not a distant observer watching from afar. I'm an involved father, tracking every heartbeat, every sacrifice, every tiny moment of obedience that others miss but heaven recorded. The season of invisibility wasn't meant to diminish you. It was meant to preserve you. There are things I kept hidden for your protection. I knew the weight of premature exposure. I knew what needed to mature in the quiet before it could stand strong in the open. You thought being unseen was punishment, but it was preparation. I was building something in you that would not depend on applause to survive. Because where I'm taking you, your strength can't be shallow. Your identity can't be based on recognition. You have to know who you are in me, even when no one affirms it out loud. And now I'm shifting things. Not because you demanded to be seen, but because you're ready. Ready for rooms that require more than appearance. Ready for influence that flows from purity, not performance. Ready to be trusted with visibility because you've been faithful in obscurity. The spotlight will not change you, it will only reveal the consistency I've developed within you. This is not about being known by the world. This is about being positioned by heaven. There are people who walked past you, unaware of the treasure you carried. They didn't ignore you out of cruelty, they simply didn't have the eyes to recognize the anointing I placed upon you. That's not your burden to carry. Their inability to see you never changed your value. In fact, the moments when you kept loving, kept giving, kept believing despite being unnoticed, those moments became the fragrance of your offering to me. And I received it. I treasured it. And I'm responding to it now, in ways you never expected. Promotion in my kingdom doesn't come from networking, and comes from nearness. The closer you've walked with me in private, the higher I will lift you in purpose. And the elevation I'm bringing will not feel like performance. It will feel like fulfillment. Like you're finally walking in what your heart always knew you were made for. It won't be about proving anyone wrong. It will be about partnering with me to do what only you can do in this moment of history. You are not invisible in the kingdom. Every season of hidden faithfulness hath been counted. Every hour of quiet trust hath been multiplied. And now, the seeds you planted without applause are beginning to break the surface. You don't need to strive to be seen, you only need to continue standing in surrender. I'm the one who opens eyes, opens doors, and opens opportunities. And I'm doing it not because you forced it, but because you stayed faithful when no one was watching. So lift your eyes. What once felt like the background is about to become the launching place. You didn't miss your moment, it's arriving right on time. You don't have to chase attention, my favor will find you. What you built with me in secret, I will now breathe on in the open. Not to exalt you, but to reveal what I've always known, that you were never overlooked. You were chosen. And I was watching, all along. There is a reason why your heart didn't harden, even after the betrayals. There's a reason why your spirit stayed tender, even when it was easier to become numb. You've been through situations that could have turned your love into bitterness, your hope into cynicism, your discernment into suspicion. But I step in. Quietly, constantly. I shielded the core of who you are because what I placed within you is too sacred to be contaminated by the darkness of this world. While others saw weakness in your sensitivity, I saw holiness. Your purity was under attack not because it was flawed, but because it's powerful. And I protected it when you didn't even know it was under threat. There were moments when compromise seemed easier, when the crowd's voice was louder than conviction, when acceptance seemed to require a version of yourself that wasn't true to what you carried. And yet you stayed aligned with me. You felt the pull to become what others expected, to mirror the world just to belong, but you didn't give in. You chose the narrow road, the quiet yes, the hidden integrity. I know how costly that choice was. I know what you gave up, who you walked away from, and how isolated it made you feel. But what you protected in silence, I'm about to honor in the open. You see, I never lose track of what my children preserve in private. And purity of heart, in a generation drowning in self-promotion and noise, is a rare fragrance that reaches my throne. You may not have received attention for it, but heaven took notice. Every time you forgave instead of retaliating, every time you stayed humble when pride was available, every time you remained kind when cruelty was easier. These choices were more than character, they were warfare. And you won. Not through strength, but through surrender. Not by fighting back, but by staying clean. The world will try to shame you for your softness, but I bless you for it. Your heart is not too tender, it's just right. Because what I'm entrusting to you now requires someone who hasn't been desensitized. Someone who still weeps when I speak. Someone who still feels my heartbeat for others. Someone who hasn't traded depth for image or holiness for applause. But someone is you. You didn't lose your identity in the fire you found it. And now, that purity of spirit is going to attract favor that cannot be earned. I'm opening doors for you, not because you performed well, but because you protected what mattered most. Intimacy with me. And I will always defend what you've built with me in secret. Lo adendo. No platform. Just devotion. That's what I've seen in you, and that's why what's coming next is not a coincidence, it's a reward. Don't doubt your softness. It's not a weakness, it's a weapon. You are not too emotional. You are not too careful. You are the kind of vessel I can trust with real influence, because you've proven you won't use it to serve your ego. You've proven that you can remain pure when no one is looking. And that, my child, is the very thing that qualifies you. The purity of your walk will draw the right people. You won't have to compete for connections. Hearts aligned with heaven will find you because your spirit speaks louder than any title. You are about to be seen not for who you pretended to be, but for who you remained in me. And that kind of revelation only comes to those who didn't trade their purity for popularity. So don't let the world convince you to harden. Don't let your past tell you to toughen up in ways that make you forget how to feel. Stay soft. Stay surrendered. Stay true. That's where I meet you. That's where I move. That's where I release what can't be touched by performance. And from that very place, I will raise you not for show, but for glory. Because what you've preserved in private is now the very reason I'm about to trust you with more than you've ever asked for. And it will be unmistakably clear it came not through power, but through purity. While others looked for outward progress, I was working deep within you. I wasn't focused on what could be measured by the eye, I was forming what only heaven could perceive. In the quiet hours when no one checked in, when your strength was nearly gone, when your prayers felt hollow, I was not distant. I was present, pouring endurance into your spirit like living water into dry soil. You didn't always recognize it because it didn't come with fireworks. It came in your ability to keep showing up when quitting felt easier. It came in the quiet determination to hold on, even when your heart whispered doubts louder than your mouth could speak hope. Others may have seen you as simply enduring, but I saw something greater. You were being equipped. Not in public, but in hidden places. Places where you didn't need to perform, where you didn't need to impress. Places where you could collapse into my arms and let me do what only I can. Renew the strength of those too tired to keep pretending they're okay. And you, my beloved, allowed me to do that. Even when you didn't feel it, even when you thought nothing was changing, you leaned on me. And that leaning became your greatest strength. You thought the season you just walked through was one of stagnancy. You assumed nothing was growing because you couldn't see it with your natural eyes. But spiritual progress often begins underground. Just like seeds that take root before they break the soil, you were being deeply planted. Not burying but prepared. I was forming foundation beneath the surface so that when the time comes for what I've promised to emerge, it will stand, not shake. You won't be easily moved. Why? Because your strength isn't emotional. It's spiritual. It's rooted in me. You see, I allowed the silence so your ears would learn the frequency of my whisper. I permitted the delay so your trust could deepen beyond outcomes. I didn't rush your process because rushed things break under pressure. And I didn't want you to break. I wanted you to be able to carry what's coming next. What I'm preparing for you will require more than surface-level faith. It will require stability in seasons when others lose their way. And now, because of how you stayed with me even in confusion, even in pain, I am establishing that within you. People may not understand what's happening inside you. They may not see why you suddenly seem more focused, more grounded, more anchored in peace. But it's because you're walking with me from a deeper place now. The strength you carry isn't from motivational words, it's from lived encounters with me. From nights when my comfort wrapped around your weakness like a shield. From moments when my spirit fought for you in ways even you didn't recognize. This strength I've given you, this quiet, unwavering endurance, isn't going away. It's not seasonal. It's eternal. It's the kind of resilience that doesn't rise from ego but from intimacy. And now, you'll begin to notice things that once shook you no longer move you. Things that once drained you no longer distract you. You'll speak with authority not because of volume, but because of the power that comes from having been in the fire and emerging refined, not ruined. You are not who you were before this season. The you that doubted your worth, second-guessed your voice, questioned your direction, that version has been gently transformed. Not through pressure but through presence. My presence. I didn't rebuild you overnight. I rebuilt you through quiet days, one surrendered moment at a time. And now, the strength that has been forming in you will become evident not through striving but through stillness. Not through chaos but through consistency. You'll carry peace into places that only knew panic before. You'll carry clarity into conversations clouded by confusion. You'll be a sign of what it looks like to be strengthened by the one who never fails. To walk forward with quiet confidence. Not because of what you've achieved, but because of who you've allowed to sustain you. I've been strengthening you when no one saw it, and now, you will move like someone who's been held by heaven. You've wondered why certain people drifted away. Why familiar places started to feel uncomfortable. Why what used to satisfy you now feels strangely empty. These shifts were not coincidences. They were signals. You weren't being abandoned, you were being advanced. I've been changing not just your heart, but the environment around you so that it can carry what I'm releasing through you. Because the version of you that's emerging stronger, wiser, clearer can't thrive in the spaces that once embraced a limited version of who you were. What I've developed inside you can no longer fit within atmospheres that were never meant to hold your growth. That discomfort you felt, that sense of detachment from the old way of things, that spiritual evidence that I'm elevating you. You're not shrinking, you're expanding. And expansion requires room. Room for purpose to breathe. Room for calling to flurry. Room for peace to reign. That's why I've begun rearranging things, not to confuse you, but to make space for what's next. Some connections weren't meant to walk with you into the next assignment. They weren't evil. They weren't necessarily wrong. But their role in your story has ended, and I need you to release them without guilt. You can bless people without dragging them into seasons they were never assigned to. The journey I'm leading you into now requires alignment, not just association. Your surroundings matter. The voices you allow near your spirit matter. The atmosphere around you must be as consecrated as what I've planted within you. You've asked me to lead you, to use you, to move through you. And I've answered, but my answer included reformation. I'm not just adjusting your direction, I'm purifying your surroundings. I'm quieting noise that distracted you. I'm dimming lights that were shining on the wrong things. I'm drawing you into environments where your discernment can grow without compromise, where your anointing can operate without resistance, where your spirit can breathe deeply without warfare draining you daily. You didn't lose those things or those people because you did something wrong. You lost them because your prayer for my will was louder than your desire to stay comfortable. I honored your prayer, even when you forgot you prayed it. You asked me to take everything that wasn't sent by me, and I did. And I will continue to, not to isolate you, but to insulate what I've placed within you. This isn't rejection. This is refinement. And soon, you'll understand. The people I'm sending into your life now won't just tolerate your growth. They'll nurture it. They won't be threatened by your calling, they'll celebrate it. You'll walk into places that won't require you to water yourself down to be accepted. Instead, your light will be welcomed, your truth will be valued, your faith will be fueled. Because the atmosphere I'm preparing for you is not temporary, it's part of the next dimension of your assignment. Even the timing of your elevation has been carefully orchestrated. I didn't accelerate you when you asked me to because the environment wasn't ready. I didn't say no, I said, not yet. Because releasing you into a space that hadn't been purged would have sabotaged what I placed inside of you. Now that I've aligned the inner and the outer, you'll notice things beginning to flow. What once felt blocked will begin to open. What once required force will now move with favor. Because your surroundings have finally caught up with your surrender. So don't resist the changes happening around you. Don't mourn what I've removed. What I survived, I always replace with greater. You haven't lost your place, you've been repositioned. Not backward, forward. And what's coming now is sustainable, blessed, and covered. You've made space within and I've made space around. Now walk confidently into the atmosphere that's been prepared to receive the fullness of who you are becoming in me. What you've endured was not in vain. The heat you felt wasn't just hardship, it was holy refinement. I allowed certain seasons to press you, not to destroy you, but to strip away what could not travel with you into this next level of your purpose. You felt the intensity not because I had abandoned you, but because I was closer than ever, refining, purifying, preparing. The fire did consume you. It revealed you. And now, having come through what others didn't survive, you carry an authority that doesn't come from books or titles, it comes from surrender under pressure. You didn't realize it at the time, but the trials you walked through weren't just battles, they were baptisms. They immersed you in grace you didn't know you needed and surface strength you didn't know you had. You were not weakened in those seasons, you were awakened. When everything around you was shaking, your roots reached deeper into me. You learned how to hear me through silence. You discovered how to trust me without guarantees. And because of that, you now walk with a weight of glory that only emerges through endurance. Others may see the outside, but I see the cost. I see what it took for you to keep going. I see the nights you worshipped with tears. I see the mornings you rose with nothing but faith. That perseverance was not overlooked, it was producing something eternal. And now, I'm clothing you in a mantle woven with the fabric of obedience. A spiritual garment tailored in the wilderness, fitted by pain, stitched by prayer. This mantle doesn't come from platforms, it's born in hidden places where only I was watching. The fire didn't disqualify you, it certified you. You don't need to convince anyone of your calling. The evidence will speak for itself. Doors will recognize what I've placed upon you. Battles will bow to what I've built within you. You won't need to explain yourself in rooms I've assigned to you. The grace on your life will do the talking. Because this isn't about elevation for visibility, it's about demonstration of my power through a surrendered life. And you, child, have surrendered. You've been entrusted with more because you were faithful with less. You didn't let the fire harden your heart. You let it purify your motives. You let it shape compassion where resentment could have grown. That's why your influence will carry weight, not because it's loud, but because it's real. People will sense my presence in your presence. Not because of charisma, but because of consecration. You've chosen depth over display, character over comfort, presence over performance. And that is the kind of vessel I anoint without limit. I am giving you access now, not for your benefit alone, but for the benefit of those waiting for what you carry. Your story is not just personal, it's prophetic. It points to what I can do when someone refuses to let go of me, even when the flame is fierce. You will lead not from pride, but from perspective. From the knowledge of what it feels like to walk through fire and come out faithful. And that kind of authority isn't borrowed, it's birthed. So walk boldly, not arrogantly. Speak clearly, not forcefully. Love deeply, not selectively. Because now, everything you do will carry the fragrance of fire-tested faith. You don't have to announce your arrival, I already have. I've gone before you. I prepared the soil. I've spoken your name in places your feet have yet to touch. And now, as you move forward, you do so wrapped in something hell tried to steal but couldn't. This is the moment where the ashes become oil, where the refining becomes release, where the trials become testimonies. And I, your refiner, your redeemer, your risen king, say to you, step forward, not as the person who barely survived but as the one I preserved, prepared, and now promote. Not for attention but for impact. The fire didn't break you, it built you. And now, it's time the world sees what I forged in flame. There is a sound rising from within you that was not there before. It's not noise. It's not performance. It's a frequency forged in the silence of surrender, refined in the waiting, and activated through your resilience. The sound is not born from excitement, it's born from encounter. It's the sound of someone who has walked through storms and didn't lose their worship. It's the sound of someone who chose truth when lies were louder. It's the echo of a heart that kept beating in rhythm with mine, even when everything around tried to drown it out. I'm not just giving you a voice, I'm giving you a sound that carries spiritual weight. A sound that reaches places words never could. When you speak, chains will begin to weaken. When you pray, atmospheres will begin to shift. When you worship, heaviness will lift not because of how loud you are but because of the authority you now carry. You've been asking for breakthrough, but what I've been giving you is the ability to bring breakthrough wherever you go. You are no longer someone waiting for freedom, you are someone releasing it. This sound I'm giving you is not for entertainment. It's for impact. It won't be received in every room because not every room is ready. But the places I'm sending you will be environments that were waiting for what you carry. Your sound will unlock hearts, not just impress ears. It will awaken those who have grown numb. It will bring clarity where there's been confusion. It will restore peace where torment has taken root. This is not emotional energy, this is spiritual authority. And it has come through your process, your pain, and your perseverance. You've kept quiet for too long not because you lacked something to say, but because you weren't sure your sound mattered. You watched others speak boldly while you stayed silent, not out of fear, but out of humility. But now, I'm calling your sound forward, not to compete, not to compare, but to contribute to release what only your journey could produce. You've been purified in private so that what you release in public carries the fragrance of heaven, not the residue of ego. This sound is also for you. It will lift your own soul on the days you forget who you are. It will remind you of my promises when the noise of life tries to cloud them. It will steady your steps when the path feels uncertain. Because this isn't just about what comes from your lips, it's about what flows from your spirit. A melody of trust, the harmony of hope, the rhythm of grace. It will play within you, quietly anchoring you even when things around you shift. You don't have to mimic anyone else. You don't have to manufacture a voice that fits a trend. What I've placed in you is original, heaven-encoded, spirit-infused, and no one else can carry it like you do. I didn't give you this sound to blend in, I gave it to set captives free. I gave it to pierce darkness. I gave it to carry the weight of glory into dry places and call things back to life. What seemed like stillness has actually been a rehearsal space for this very release. So don't hold it back. Don't wait for perfection. Release your sound. In your prayers. In your worship. In your silence. In your daily conversations. In your creativity. Let the sound I've given you move through every part of your life. It doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. It only needs to be true. And the truth is, what I've placed within you will not return void. It will accomplish what I send it to do because it came from me. This is your sound. Heaven recognizes it. Hell fears it. And the earth needs it. Release it boldly, humbly, faithfully. You've been prepared for this. The silence is over. The sound has begun. You've noticed that the path has shifted. What once felt predictable now feels uncertain. The rhythms you grew comfortable with have been disrupted, and your sense of direction has been stretched. This isn't punishment. This is promotion in disguise. I'm leading you away from the patterns that kept you safe but stagnant. I'm walking you into terrain that doesn't match what you imagined, because what I'm building in you can't be formed in comfort zones. I didn't call you to repetition, I called you to revelation. And revelation often requires a departure from what's familiar. You've asked, why does everything feel new again? It's because I've invited you into deeper trust. Familiar places teach you how to rely on your own strength, but unfamiliar ground teaches you how to rely on me. When you don't have a map, you learn to follow my voice. When the scenery shifts, your dependence deepens. And that's what I'm after, not just your understanding, but your undivided trust. I'm not trying to confuse you, I'm refining your ability to move by faith, not familiarity. Don't resent the detours. They're divine. What looks like delay is actually divine redirection. I've gone ahead of you to prepare what your mind can't yet grasp. There are people, opportunities, and moments waiting for your arrival that wouldn't have aligned if you stayed where you were. The shifts that felt disruptive were actually doorways. And though they may have closed behind you without explanation, they opened space for me to guide you toward more. You're not lost, you're being led. You haven't failed, you've been rerouted by grace. You're not behind, you're being accelerated in a way the world won't recognize until the fruit starts to appear. And the fruit that's coming will not be shallow. It will be weighty. It will be lasting. Because you allowed me to break you free from cycles that were keeping you comfortable but contained. This part of the journey will stretch your faith, yes, but it will also sharpen your discernment. You'll begin to hear me more clearly, not because my voice got louder, but because the distractions got quieter. You'll find that in unfamiliar places, your spiritual